3, 2. Oh my God.
Yo, what's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966.
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Airtime, y'all podcast.
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. We have one of the best humans on and off the snowboard, an absolute savage on the slope, and someone I hope to ride POW with forever. My good friend, somebody I first met when I first moved to Whistler, and just a fucking amazing human. Beau Bishop, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Dude, thank you, Jody. It's really good to be here, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Thanks.
What have you been up to these days, Beau?
Just parenting and boarding, man, and sanding and staining log homes and boarding in the winter. So yeah, and parenting, lots of parenting. 2 beautiful kids, lovely family at home. So lots. Never bored, always busy.
Yeah. The oldest is 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 and 1.5. Boy and a girl. So William and Leona and Angela, my partner at home. So.
And are you gonna put them both into the ringer with like the same kind of upbringing? You going hockey, snowboarding, or you?
We got William in ski school right now, and he's backyard boarding. They don't offer snowboard school until they're like 5 or 6 or 7 or something. So anyway, he's up on the mountain. I want him to get like comfortable up there. And same with Leona. We'll do that for her as well. But they're backyard boarding and tobogganing in the hill. Or on our backyard hill, and then I'm definitely putting William in hockey next year. He can start, which is pretty sick.
No way.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be like hilarious. They all just like chase the puck around like a little herd, so it'll be cool.
That's very wholesome. And do you think you're gonna put him into goaltending, just like his old man?
God, no.
Why not? Come on, man. Dude, like, the young goaltender is adorable.
Yeah, it is maybe adorable, but like I think it's every parent's worst nightmare for their kid to be a goalie. I don't know even like how I fell into it. I think it was probably because I was pretty bad at hockey, and then they're like, "Oh, stick this kid in net," and then I was like kind of good at that, so I stuck with that. So I don't really know, but no, I mean, I don't think any parent pushes their kid into being a goalie. It just kind of happens sometimes. So we'll see, man. He can do whatever he wants. Same with my daughter. They can do whatever they want. I'm just happy to, whatever they want to do, that's what they get to do. I'm not really going to try to force them down one lane or the other. Like, I don't really believe in that. They're going to find something that they love and then just kind of support that for them, you know?
I think that's a big part of the new generation of, at least of our community. I think like it used to be like parents would kind of be like, I worked at the bank, so you should work at the bank. And if they worked at the bank, then and they didn't want you to work at the bank, they'd still want you to go to university and follow like this formula. Where like, I feel like our generation, like 80s kids, maybe some people in the 70s, but more born and bred 80s kids were the first to be like, I'm gonna move to Whistler and try out this thing called snowboarding. Yeah. Parents were like, what does that mean?
What? Yeah, please God, no. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, so we'll just see. We'll see what they get into, and yeah, happy for them either way. But yes, I am going to definitely encourage them to snowboard, and I want to be able to go up there and ride around with them. So that'll be sweet.
Do you think if Will would want to take a full shot at like professional snowboarding, you know, would you be like, that's a good lane, you should lean into that?
I mean, like it's all up to him. It actually stresses me out, the thought of him trying to be a pro snowboarder, like simply because of how much like trauma my body's gone through, and then like just kind of seeing the industry, like it's hard, you know, like to actually make it in this industry and like make a living. It's like so hard. It's such a like 1% of people maybe make it to like a level where you can make a living from it, and then like to get there, you know, the actual commitment and it's insane these days. Like, I think it's just changed so much from when you and I came up, like where it was just like, oh, your bros are all like out riding and pushing each other. Like now it's like coaches, and like, if someone wants to be a professional snowboarder now, it's like, it's quite insane what you have to do. And like, you know, you go up in the park these days and it's just mind blowing, like seeing all these young kids and like how good they are at snowboarding, and just technically, like mechanically really sound, you know? Totally. That's what's like, I think a huge difference is, but it looks like they're still having a lot of fun, which is cool to see, you know, like that, all the like Whistler Valley program and all that stuff in Whistler is actually like really sick. And those kids are all kind of coming up and looking like they're having a lot of fun, which is awesome. And yeah, it's impressive. But yeah, the thought of my kids being pro snowboarders is, yeah, like as a parent, you're a little stressed out maybe because of like the personal injuries I've been through and just like, yeah, it's a little nerve wracking, I could say.
If I was a parent, I would definitely be nervous to be like, okay, so you're going to have to go in at 12 years old now and have like a back 16.
Yeah, exactly.
On lock.
Yeah.
And we used to look up to like Mark Mick.
Totally.
And it's like, you see him with, it's like not fully training on trampolines and stuff, but the first generation that I would say really incorporated coaching and a little bit of trampolining and the off-season training, airbags, that whole world. And I don't even think Mark Mick was like full time into any of those things. Maybe learned a couple tricks, but like most of it on snow.
Yeah.
And now it's like kids born in a test tube, it almost feels like.
Yeah.
And at age 5, they already have a front end double on a trampoline and an airbag. It's fucking crazy.
It's pretty wild. Yeah.
It's like a new sport.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's like any sport right now. Like, you know, pick it. It's like humanity's breeding these like super athletes, and it's pretty wild to see like the level you have to be a professional athlete in really any sport now. Like I used to like not really, I don't like feel like all these Netflix documentaries showing all these different avenues of sports, and like I was like, whatever, golfers, for example, like you're like, oh, these guys are just like go out and play golf. It's like, man, they actually like are crazy athletes, most of them anyway. And like, doesn't matter the sport, but like, yeah, particularly like snowboarding is just the level it's at right now. It's pretty insane. And it's definitely cool to see. I think it's in a good place. I mean, it's wild. A lot of it's wild, but like what I'm seeing is a lot of kids having fun out there, and that's positive. So.
Yeah. I think that we could use a little bit more J2 energy and like John Candy or what's his name? John Daly.
John Daly.
Yeah. Some John Daly energy on the course right now.
Yeah. I like that. But that's still out there. Like, you know, you've got like some pretty funny, like party animal looking kids in the contest scene who are doing it. But I mean, that might all change too, but who knows? Yeah.
Like I like the Zach Cassians on the ice, you know what I mean? Since you're such a hockey guy. Like I like people who are maybe not the best, but they bring some energy to the bench.
Oh yeah, locker room guy.
Yeah, locker room guy.
Be a good locker room guy. Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to go full spit and chicklets here.
Okay, here we'll try not to.
All right, so this season hasn't been the best, as we both know, and we have an amazing group. Our Patreon family, and maybe we'd tee this off with a question from one of our Patreon members.
Okay.
Thank you for supporting the show. Patreon.com/airtime podcast if you want to support the show. Actually, the best way to support the show, and it means the world. So we're going to tee this up. Garrett Baker. How does a low snow year affect the way that you look at filming in the backcountry?
Thanks, Garrett. I guess a low snow year, you just got to like really start to think about rocks and other hazards out there. Like that's one thing that comes to mind right away. The base just isn't there. So like so far, I've been out snowmobiling a lot, hit a lot of rocks with the sled.
AR, I'm gone.
No, not luckily, no. But like I've just seen a lot of like kind of hidden hazards, and so that's kind of one thing. I guess you just got to slow down out there, you know, right now, and hopefully it turns around and the base comes. But I think maybe with age too, you learn to be like a little more patient, and you know, you're like a laundry list of injuries, and I'm really trying not to hurt myself out there anymore. So yeah, just take your time, slow it down, and don't stress too much about it, because it's all doesn't matter that much.
I love that. You don't want to do the powder panic on the next reset either.
No.
Like, oh, it's February, so that means we can just get back out there. I think like what you said about just slowing down is really what people if you're out here on the Pacific Northwest, Baker, Whistler, that whole area. I mean, even inwards like to Revelstoke, I feel like it's a slower snow year, big time. And by slow, I mean it's horrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
Our minuscule snowpack has been absolutely obliterated.
Yeah. The atmospheric river came through and washed all the snow away, and yeah, here we are. But whatever, you know, we're still riding. So what are you gonna do?
I like the positive spin on that, because it's definitely like frustrating when you're trying to like film a video part that relies on powder.
Yeah, totally. The window's so short already. So like when that's again then cut in half, you know, it's like, damn, okay, it's gonna be a little bit of a rough footy year. So, but it is what it is. Like, yeah, what are you gonna do? There's not much that you can do. You can try and travel and chase it all over the world, but like I don't have the budget to do that, and so. Yeah, here I am, being patient and waiting and getting out when I can. And I've had some epic days still. Like, it's been really kind of fun. I feel like if you're in the right place at the right time still this season, like you've gotten some good stuff. So,
I gotta say, I just love this positivity because like you're being all like, the season's been great and you need to look at the glass half full. I'm like, this season fucking sucks. I just got back from Japan. It was amazing.
Yeah, but
here,
like, what are you gonna do? There's nothing you can do. So like, I mean, whatever. Go enjoy it as best you can. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I do love the way that you navigated that, and having known you for such a long time, and as of late, you have absolutely constructed what I would say is one of the best ways of being a modern professional snowboarder. And what I mean by that is you don't necessarily need to rely on snowboard companies to support you financially because you've created this business in the summer that makes the majority of your money. Because this ties into what we were talking about at the beginning, like Garrett's question is like, you're having a low snow year. If your entire income comes from snowboarding and it's a low tide year, globally snowboards don't sell as much, you're getting really stressed right now.
Absolutely.
And you're sitting in some sort of hot seat, maybe your contract's coming up.
Yeah.
But the flexibility you get with working really hard at, well, specifically, I think trades that you can really work really hard in the off season, especially in a 4-season place like Canada. You have that ability to just grind it out in the summer.
Yeah.
And if you do that for a long period of time, you actually start to make a good chunk of change doing that. I love how you've navigated that and teed that all up. So what would you say about having a successful summer business that I feel like alleviates you of some stress with being a professional snowboarder?
I guess I'll just kind of like explain maybe like what the business is
let's
and
do that.
how it all started. Cause, I'll just say like, it was, something that changed my life like so drastically in such a good way for so many different reasons. So I'm really grateful and blessed that I had the opportunity to take over a business. So, long story short, I'll try to keep it brief, but I moved to Whistler my very first summer. I worked for a log home restoration company called Mountain Timber Restoration. And we'd go in and sand and stain log homes. So I started learning that whole process, worked for this gentleman for about 9 years, and basically getting ready to go back to work for my like 10th summer or whatever it was. He calls me up and he's like, "Hey, Beau, shutting down. I'm moving away from Whistler. I'm going to basically shut down the business, but I want you to take it over." So that's sort of kind of what happened. And I hummed and hawed about it. And I was like, I don't know. And then I called my dad and sort of told him about it. And he's like, "You're crazy." Like, "But no, you absolutely have to do this like now." And I'm like, "Shit. Okay. But like, I like to just snowboard in the summer even." And like, I was being a baby about it. But then anyway, so and at that time too, like I was bad with my money, you know, I had a lot of debt. I was like just scraping by paycheck to paycheck, asking, you know, borrowing money from people, doing everything I could to just kind of live in Whistler. It was hard. And so boom, like take over this business, buy the business from him. Amazing person. He let me pay him back like 5 years later, for the business. And he essentially kind of handed me this turnkey business, and you know, it changed everything. Like I got myself out of debt quick. All of a sudden was making like pretty good money, and then like all of a sudden this whole me chasing all these brands to pay me, like I didn't really need that anymore. And so the pressure of trying to like be this professional snowboarder who relies only on the income from snowboarding, that's gone. And all of a sudden I really felt this monkey off my back and this weight off my shoulders. And now I start riding like way better also. 'Cause it was like, it was just like pressure's off. Now I'm like, wait a minute, why do I do this? Oh, wait, I do this because I love to do this. I don't actually do this for money. I don't need to try to like kill myself for this money. Like I can make money in the summer and I can float through the winter, and I still have like amazing support from my brands. I have some money and it like covers itself. It's great. It covers my bills through the winter, but it does not pay me for 12 months a year, right? So I've always had to have that summer grind and summer business going. And then, yeah, I think it just really helped everything, you know, like it's been something to really focus in on and try to grow. And I'm also like really lucky to work with like a lot of homies, and I have like the best crew ever. I've gotten the chance to like bring in really close friends to work with us. And then even right now, I'm like just got the sickest crew right now. So I just like really blessed and fortunate and grateful for that whole process happening, because it really did change my life like crazy.
If you're a young kid, don't look at your trades job in the summer like it's just this nothing thing and you're trying to be a professional snowboarder. Just, if I were you, I would try to pull a Beau Bishop, work your ass off at whatever job you're doing, because you never know what's going to come from that. And really, life is all about relationships. And I look at like how your boss passed this company down to you, and that didn't just happen just because he was like, he gave it to some random guy. I'm imagining you worked your ass off for him for a decade.
I did.
He really liked you.
Loyal, you know. Like, yeah. But yeah, I think like, yeah, for people out there trying to be a pro snowboarder, like we touched on a little bit before, like it's very difficult to make a living snowboarding these days. Like budgets are tighter, and so if you're spending your summers kind of just like not working very hard, but you like, especially if you're going to be a powder rider, like a backcountry snowboarder, and that's the lane you're going down. There's not a lot of money in that, and also the season is so short, so you got like 8 months, you know, to work, and you can kind of take that pressure off yourself for just going out there and doing it for the right reasons. So honing in on what you are good at, and then like the pressure is going to come off from the other things, and then that's all just going to kind of lift you up as a person, and you're going to be better at whatever you're focusing in on. So
totally. And if you do a 10-year stint trying to be a professional snowboarder, and the entire time you're perfecting a craft, either at school, let's say, maybe you don't go down the trades route, but let's say you do trades, you do 10 years as a trade and you work your ass off and show up every day and get a mentor and actually learn a lot. At 10 years, you have a skill set that is valuable. And then as snowboarding ends, you're good to go. You have this whole other thing that you can lean into that's going to pay you well.
Yep.
Hopefully you've been working hard enough and you actually have been paying attention and maybe doing some off-season training where to the point where you can be the person running the business.
Yeah,
Not
totally.
everyone's going to get the boss that hands the employee the company, but it is those lucky instances in your life that you need to also be in the place to capitalize. And shout outs to your dad for being like, no, this is a big opportunity, Beau.
You have to do this. And
imagine you said no.
Yeah, I know. I would be like, I'd be just like kicking myself right now. But yeah, he was just like, no. You have to do this. I'm like, but Dad, I
like riding at High Cascade.
I like just going to work and not thinking about it. It's like, yeah, but anyway, thanks, Dad.
Yeah, big. Maybe on that note, I know from just spending a lot of time with you, and I've heard the way you speak on this man, your dad.
Yeah.
I feel like he holds a special place in your heart, in your life. I've heard you speak. I mean, the guy sounds like an absolute legend. Maybe what qualities does he have that you admire, and, you know, why do you love your old man so much?
Good question. He just like, he's one of my best friends. I talk to him all the time. I call him, you know, a couple times a week, or I try to anyway. But yeah, he's just kind of like, he was basically my hero, you know, growing up. Like, he was a professional athlete. He played hockey. And so kind of especially as I started to become an adult and trying to pursue a professional athlete career, you know, he was someone I really like admired, and he had done that. And yeah, what do I admire about him? Like everything, you know, there's things about him that drive me crazy, like anyone with their parents. But like, yeah, he's just one of my best friends, and he's a great human. He's a tough, strong-willed, funny, kind of fun person. And I just really like hanging out with him and talking with him. And yeah, he's someone I greatly respect and have always kind of wanted to make proud, you know? Yeah, I want to make them all proud. I love my mother too, was so supportive and a really amazing person and still is. And just, I was really lucky to have incredible parents. So thank you to them both.
Yeah, that's and then you going into being a parent, you know, they inspired you, and then you're gonna inspire. Like, it's kind of a ripple effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to make my kids proud too, and I want to be proud of them. You know, so yeah, it's cool. I have an awesome relationship with my parents, and I want to make sure I have a great relationship with my kids too. So it's important to me. Family's super important to me.
Yeah, family's super important to begin with.
Yeah,
you know, you don't get to choose your family, which is, you know, it's tough for some people, no doubt. But I mean, that doesn't mean that when maybe you start your own family, you maybe change the whole needle for your lineage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
It looks like a great opportunity. I mean, sometimes harder said than done, but all right. That's a little bit, I'm not a therapist here. Let's just steer the ship here. Let's just
get back on the tracks. Yeah.
Okay, 10 questions here.
Damn.
Brought to you by Baldface. These are just to get to know you. Shout outs to Baldface. If you have never been, put that on your bucket list. Chalk it up as something that you should do with you and your homies or your loved ones or whatever. And have you been?
I've been twice, yeah.
Do you like the place?
It's okay. Yeah, no. It's like a snowboarder's dream. If you are super into snowboarding and the culture of snowboarding, it's somewhere that, you know, you kind of must visit in your lifetime because it's just, it's like the church of snowboarding. It's pretty cool.
Would you chalk up Japan into that region too?
Into that category, you mean?
Like must go?
Yes, absolutely. If you love snowboarding, you definitely need to go there at least once, for sure.
Nice. So E-Man, who commented not going on my post the other day, he should still go, you think?
Yeah, because E-Man likes riding powder. I see him riding powder all the time, and you know, they got a lot of powder in Japan. So you should go. And they got vending machine beers, E-Man. Anywhere you go, you can just buy beer from the vending machine.
Should be enough.
You'd love it. It's the best.
Everybody smokes cigarettes. So
you'd fit right in, buddy.
All right. Number one, outside of snowboarding, who did you look up to as a child or youth?
Outside of snowboarding, hockey players?
Anyone?
Damn.
Who did you look up to?
Who did I look up to? Yeah, I guess hockey players. I was super into hockey. So, as a young goalie, really bad goalie as a kid, I really liked feeling. I don't know. Like, I don't really know, to be honest. Athletes, hockey players.
Yeah, which hockey players though? Who do you have on the wall? I had Ty Domi.
Ty Domi. I have a Ty Domi jersey. I loved Ty Domi. Guys who would mix it up and fight and stuff was always kind of sick. My dad was a bit of a fighter in his day too, so I always kind of liked that. And then I was a goalie, so like Felix Potvin was my guy. Nice. Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh yeah, you're a big Leafs fan.
Huge Leafs
How are they
fan.
doing this year?
You know, they're all right.
How about the Jets? How are they doing?
They're really good. Yeah.
I knew that one.
I bleed blue, so you know.
All right, what was your first setup ever?
It was one of those like plastic black snows.
Oh, very fun.
Yeah,
that was
you just kick your like Sorel boots into it and away you go. No metal edges.
Did it have the rope on the front, or are you talking about
you know what? It might have had a rope, but I think we cut it off right away. But it was just like the black plastic board, no edges, little straps. You just kick your boots into, and you basically can't turn. But you know, I'm from Ontario. We were just hitting the like toboggan hill and basically going straight anyway. And so first setup was like a black snow. Then the first like real snowboard I got was, I don't even know I guess it was a Wicked. It just said Wicked on the bottom, probably like a Sport Check or Walmart brand or something, but it had edges. It was like this table, just like stiff, no flex, piece of shit. And then, eventually I want to say like my real first snowboard would have been like some sort of Rosingale board from whatever. But,
nice.
Yeah. Got me into it and
And then off to the races.
Yeah.
I wonder, out of curiosity, what the best trick on a black snow Like, what's the best trick anyone's ever done on a black snow ever with the kick your feet in type bindings with no edges? Like, somebody switch back 5 on one of those things.
Someone's probably laced a pretty sick backy on one, you know,
A
just like
backflip
go
for sure.
straight into a jump because you can't turn and just chuck a backflip.
Do you think anyone's ever done a front 7 with a grab on one of those?
I don't know, but maybe someone should try because that'd be sick.
That would be
I
sick.
actually have the board still. I brought it out to Whistler. It's in my storage container. It's pretty sick.
See, there's some viral content I could get behind.
Yeah.
That sounds dope. All right. First snowboard video you ever watched or recall watching?
I think it was either True Life or it was Stand and Deliver. Yeah, because I think it was back in like the desktop, like dial-up internet days, and I remember like downloading Stand and Deliver. So I'm pretty sure it was Stand and Deliver was my first video. Probably like ruined my mom's computer, like with a bunch of viruses.
Totally.
Downloading this video, but I remember like snowboard.com days and seeing Stand and Deliver, and that was my first kind of like, whoa, what is this? You know, 'cause I was into skateboarding as a kid, so I kind of knew that whole side of videos and everything, but had never seen anything about the snowboard side. And then Stand and Deliver I think was my first ever video I saw.
Both Stand and Deliver and True Life. If you haven't seen, both amazing videos.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember who ends Stand and Deliver?
I don't know.
Kevin Jones maybe or something. I feel like that was the
I don't.
prime Kevin Jones.
It was the first
area.
video I saw, but the first video I'd say I like watched on repeat was probably like True Life, you know?
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but good one to watch on loop.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Still
like,
to this day, it'd be like fun to watch for sure.
I mean, really, when you think about it, I feel like the True Life formula was just the shorty skateboard formula.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
and then like and like I said, like Fulfill the Dream was like the first skate video that I like watched over and over and over again. And then like to see True Life, it was like, damn, they do this in snowboarding too. It was like the exact same formula, kind of. Yeah, it was awesome.
I always like playing Tony Hawk Underground as a kid. I was like, can there just be a snowboard game that's equally this cool? Like, I want to pick like, you know, the Jeff Raleigh of fucking snowboarding. Like, I want to scroll through right now. And I mean, Amp 2 was definitely a couple years later, but like when the first Tony Hawk Underground came out, I was like, please make a doppelganger, but for snowboarding.
Yeah. When Amp 2 came out though, that hit hard.
Yeah.
And I played that endlessly. It was like so good.
Oh, I still think like when I go up and do tricks, I think like as I'm taking off the takeoff of the jump, I'm like L or R, and then that's how you like tweak the button. Like, you know, you get the front 7 crooked cop. You're like, nice.
Oh yeah.
CD you played the most?
We're talking music.
Yeah, we're talking music.
Rancid and Out Come the Wolves.
What's Out Come the Wolves?
It was one of their albums.
Rancid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Punk rock. Super into punk rock as a teenager. And then I discovered rap music, and then we've kind of gone down that road since then. But hugely into punk, so I owned Rancid and Out Come the Wolves, and that was kind of like my jam.
You listened to the new 21 Savage album?
I don't know if I have. No,
you can listen on the way back.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Sick. I'll check that out. I'll check it out.
I mean, I like 21 Savage. You know?
He's sick.
Yeah,
I'm down. Yeah,
there's definitely a couple new school rappers that I'm not that into.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
But like 21 Savage, I'm like,
he's pretty fun.
Yeah. The local legend of Ontario.
Local legend of Ontario. Damn. I mean, Cale Stevens is from Ontario.
Ooh, good
so
pick.
that's a pretty sick pick. I'm gonna just keep it sweet. Cale Stevens, legend. Yeah.
Good answer.
Okay.
Photo from a magazine or a poster that you had that was burnt into your brain.
Ooh. Okay. Photo from a magazine or a poster.
Yeah.
Damn. True Life.
You had the poster?
The True Life poster. I'm pretty sure, or Video Gangs. The Video Gangs, because that was the first ever snowboard video premiere I went to in Toronto. Video Gangs, got to like meet Devin, Eddie Wall, Lori. I have photos of me. I'm like 16 and I'm like towering over Devin. Like,
No way.
Yeah. I went into the like autograph lineup, and then at that I got a signed poster. So let's say that Video Gangs signed poster ingrained in my memory. I don't know where it ended up, but yeah, I had a sick poster and went to the premiere, and that was like, yeah, that was pretty cool to meet all those people and then have those. I'll try to dig up that photo for you, show you one day. It's pretty funny.
Oh, we'll put that in the slide. That'll be in the show notes.
I'll try to find that for you.
Just because we're on this topic, and I feel like snowboard videos right now are in this like more people than ever are making them, but like maybe it's going to get saturated to the point where people just keep scrolling on Instagram and they don't set enough time for premieres and full-length movies. But look at the ripple effect of you going to that premiere, spending your life snowboarding. You've inspired so many people throughout the course of your entire snowboard career to go snowboarding. We're here 20 years later on a podcast talking about that premiere, which still has a ripple effect.
It does, man.
All from going to that one video premiere and like hanging out and getting to slap a high five with Devin.
Yeah.
And just team managers and brand managers, don't neglect the importance of that.
Yeah, it is important. And like, I can remember like so many details of that movie premiere. Like I remember the way the theater looked and like them throwing the snowboard into the crowd and like just the overall hype of it all. And like that, like literally the opening shot where Lorelai, like he does that huge front 270 onto that park rail. And like that shit was super groundbreaking at the time, and the theater like erupting. And yeah, that shit is ingrained into my memory. And it's like, yeah, it's important, you know?
I actually got to spend some time with Laurie over the years when I was on DC, and he kind of told me that the way he got that surprise that he opened the movie is they flew him to California. He thought he just had a couple shots in the movie,
No way.
and then he had opener and got signed to Forum.
So
but that's
sick.
how they did it.
Yeah.
It's like that front board he tries on the C rail at the beginning, and then he hooks his edge, and he's like, "Pretty dope, huh?"
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck that movie.
know.
That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
All right. Fave brand as a youth.
Forum. Easy answer. Next question.
Favorite jumper and favorite rail rider as an up and comer teenager. Beau Bishop.
Teenager. Okay. I was really into Jeremy Jones, Jibber. He was my guy. Watching like Chalk Smack and stuff. Like that was the first video I ever owned at home. So watched that one a lot. So I'll just stick with that movie then. We got Jibber Jeremy as my favorite rail rider, and then let's just go it's between let's just go JP Solberg, because he's got that Cab 9 in that video, and that one stuck with me. I was like, remember like rewinding it like a million times and watching the style on it. It was crazy. So yeah, let's just say those two, because I can't think of anyone else.
Yeah, no, those are good picks. Yeah. That Chalksback, JP Solberg, so good. DCP's part in that. That was another good video from none other than Mac Dog.
Heike Sorsa too, stand out. Doesn't he open it? Maybe he's got his hair flowing. He does this big front seven tail.
Yeah,
memorable shots.
The front seven tail I remember too. Tail grab, no hat.
Oh yeah. His hair's flying. It's an awesome shot.
that is a great shot. I'll add that in the show notes too. All right, so why does a young Beau move to Whistler? What was the burning desire to move out to the West Coast, to the best place in the entire world, Whistler, British Columbia?
Okay, where do we start here? I guess
I love saying that for all the people that live at like Baker and Mammoth. Nice. They're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
They're all riding at Whitewater, and they're like, go move to Nelson.
Yeah. Okay, so young snowboarder, riding Blue Mountain with like my best friend growing up, Dan Fair, and just kind of like really starting to love snowboarding, like digesting consuming all the snowboard videos and starting to get into the mags and looking and realizing there's this whole world that is like, wow, that appeals to me. I think I want to do that, you know? So I go, when I'm like a teenager, I go on a trip with my brother and another friend to Banff. And that I get my first like eyes and feel of like what an actual mountain is, right? So that was like mind blowing. I think I was like 16 or something. And so I just made a plan, like pretty much then and there, like I'm going to move out West, no matter what. I want to move right now, but my mom's like, no. You're going to finish high school and you need to at least promise me you'll graduate. So I was like, all right. So I did. I graduated high school, and then I was basically like going to plan on moving out West to Banff was my original plan. I was like, drinking age is 18. I'm closer to 18. I like to party. Like, so I'm going to do Banff. And then I can't remember exactly how, but I literally like, and at this point I'm like, not even interested or even understand what powder is, you know? I'm looking at terrain parks and like, I want to do some jibbing, you know, like that's where teenage Beau is at. And so I'm like online and I see like I made an ad on like a website or something for Whistler Blackcomb, and I end up seeing a photo of the terrain park in Whistler Blackcomb, and it's like a top angle of just like all the kickers everywhere. And I was just like, oh my God. And so that was like immediately like switch, I'm going to go to Whistler. Because I started kind of digging into it. And to me, that was like where it looked like everything was kind of happening more, so switched it up to Whistler and just started kind of making plans to move out there. So yeah, that's how I decided.
Terrain park ads in magazines are, wow, they were the most impactful things ever. I remember like there was these High Cascade ads back in the day, and somebody would hand draw what the park would look like.
I remember those.
And I would like look at them for hours and be like, rail into bank, up to a hip, to a quarter pipe, to a 25. And they would say with arrows how long the jump is.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, this is the perfect park for me.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
I loved those.
So yeah, it was like a picture of a terrain park that really like made me move to Whistler. Like, that'll do for me. I'm coming.
And so Beau lands, gets to Whistler. What borders within the first year to two stood out to you when you start riding in that terrain park?
Dave Fortan. At that time, Dave is the guy in the park going the biggest, doing the most. And yeah, within a first year or two, I'm watching Dave and end up becoming really close friends with him. So it was pretty cool. But Dave's who I'm like seeing, and then Narcor was what was hidden in Whistler at the time. That was the crew I wanted to kind of get in with, So yeah, that's who I would say was who I was seeing and trying to get in with.
Maybe touch on Narcor and what Narcor was, what the vibe was like, what the appeal was to a young Beau.
So Narcor was really special. Like if you haven't ever seen their movies, I don't even know where you could see them at this point, but they were like art, mixed with snowboarding. Like there was like skits and like it was like this whole crazy story, and then there was all this sick local shredders kind of mixed in to it all. So yeah, Dave Rouleau and Gerhard, rest in peace, Gerhard Gross, were the masterminds behind all of that, and just really iconic, kind of cool vibe movies. And those guys were just like kings in Whistler, they'd roll around. They were the shit. Like everybody knew who they were. They were doing really cool shit. They're having, cool premieres, parties. And yeah, that was something that I saw and I really liked,
Yeah, very proud Whistler community. Like they like embodied what it was like to live here in the early 2000s and have like a creative outlet to pour everything into. And like you look at Gerhard and Dave Rouleau, like two super creative people that went in like two different directions, like I remember moving to town and the way Dave Rouleau just dressed, you know what I mean? Him and Stefan, you were just like, these people are so fucking cool.
I know.
Like, they looked like they were both like Maddie Ryan mixed with like Ali Boulala.
And yeah, Dave Rouleau's like whole aura was just insane. Like the guy he was so creative. He was confident. He was like really was into mentoring people too. And so him and I want to say Dave Fortin as well, like mainly Dave was someone who took me under his wing and taught me really how to like send it. Cause at the time I was sending it, I was trying to anyway, but then I'm like watching Dave and he's like just, bell to bell, like going first run FT, like front seven off the toes off of like the biggest jump in the park. I'm just like, what is going on with this? Like, how am I, okay, like this is the standard, like this is what I need to do, like God. So I just started feeding off of Dave and he was someone who really took me under his wing. So just major shout out to Dave Fortin and Dave Rouleau and Gerhard. Like those three particularly were my people with Narcor that I just want to say thank you to.
Yeah, big shout outs to Gerhard and rest in peace. That guy did so much for Canadians and an incredible human and close to so many of us and beyond. He ended up working at Transworld and then the stuff he did for Whistler. And I think he worked at SBC for a while. He was pro on K2 for a couple number of years. And
I miss him, it sucks. But what a legend, all those people. So
yeah. And almost I've definitely actually a bunch of very, very underrated snowboarders. Like At the time, it was the go big or go home era, and Dave Fortin went bigger than anybody on Earth. Were you there for the hip session over like Gross?
Over Gross, yeah.
There's like
I
a
wasn't
cab
actually
10.
there, but that was insane. And like, I might have even, did I live with him at the time?
I
But
gotta
we
dig
were-
up that photo, dude. The Ashley Barker one.
We were roommates at the time, maybe of that. And I remember him just like not even be able to walk for like 3 days after that, just from like sending it so big, like over and over and over again. But yeah, what a guy. Love that guy. Love that man.
Yeah. Matt Beardmore, like savagely
crazy,
talented.
Yeah, really,
like,
really cool crew to, look up to in Whistler at the time.
And so what was your first video part then?
So I'd say my first video part was like the very last Narcor movie. Yeah.
What was that one called?
Peace. Yeah, it was the one that Brocklebank kind of like took over.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, like a 2-year project or something, and everyone was kind of just filming, hoping at the time. I was just like hoping to get in the movie at all, and that would have been my first ever video part.
And so you meet this whole crew, Narcor.
Yeah.
Through those friendships, and then you film a part with Narcor. Brocklebank edits it. Does that move anything for you? Do you start getting some sponsorships through that, or?
So yeah, my first ever sponsor is Ride and Ride Snowboards, and that starts kind of right as I'm starting to film with Narcor. So I'm kind of riding around with Dave Fortin. He's like gifting me his old nitro boards, and I'm just like riding with him, and he's making it happen for me. I'm breaking a lot of snowboards because I'm riding like those huge park jumps and probably not very good. I'm falling a lot and breaking boards. And anyway, so Dave is helping me learn the ropes. And then how does it happen? Basically, Marasha Daly, who was a Ride Snowboards BC rep at the time, he contacts Dave Rouleau, asks him, who do we got that's up and coming in the crew? And Dave's like, let's get Beau on some ride boards. So that's how that started. So
very sick.
Ride started giving me free product, and then I start filming for that video part. I sort of forget the beginning question.
No, I think that's you took. It where
you're saying like how did I start getting sponsored, or I filmed that video part, and then so I'm getting flow from Ride. Throughout that video part comes out, and I want to say like probably shortly after that I like signed my first contract with Ride through Canada. Ride Canada.
Very okay. Well, maybe we can touch on that.
Okay.
You get your first paying sponsor.
Yeah.
Very differently than how kids might get paid today. What advice do you have for kids who are trying to get paid in today's world?
Damn, I don't know. I'm the wrong guy to ask.
Great answer.
I think
if you don't know, you don't know.
I don't. I think our era was so different, and the whole landscape of being a pro snowboarder now is just so different. So like, I'm not the right guy to ask what lane to take as a young kid on how to get paid snowboarding. It's like, sorry, I'm not the right person to ask that question.
I was texting some team managers actually yesterday, and just some other homies that are in the snowboard industry. Todd Richards specifically, him and I went back and forth for a little bit, and both of us were like, I don't know what the answer is anymore.
Yeah,
like,
he's a team manager.
Yeah, and he's the team manager for
Todd, you should know.
He's like, what do you look for these days? Do you look like? I think he has an idea.
Okay.
Obviously, I think he was kind of more. Him and I are both just kind of venting about how like it is a very confusing time about like what a brand should lean into.
Right.
You know, I
Yeah.
feel like it's just a lot of things are moving. Pandora's box has been opened with, digital marketing and AI and all this stuff. So it's just a new beast. So I think you answered that correct.
I have one.
I don't know.
One thing I would look for is just someone who's super hardworking, because like unless you have the most insane natural ability, like you gotta be a hard worker, like I didn't get to be a pro snowboarder by being naturally good at snowboarding. Like I'm one of those guys that has to grind for my shots and work hard for my shots. And so, if I was looking for like a young kid who's up and coming, like, I'd want to see him have some natural ability, but also just like have the right work ethic and like also respect and just a good head on your shoulder can go a long way.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
First you said you didn't know. I think that's really good advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think hardworking and manners mixed with obviously a skill
Some
set
skill, yeah.
is like
It's a good formula.
Is the good formula,
right? Because then you're going to be fun to be around on team trips. You're going to be like bringing more to the table than just like someone who needs to be babysat all the time and just like catered to. Like if you've got some kid who's not that hardworking, but maybe just like really naturally good, but isn't bringing the vibe or bringing the like right energy to the team, then yeah, I mean, it's only going to take you so far, you know?
Totally.
So yeah, be a good person, work hard, and respect your elders. No, I'm kidding.
That was good.
Yeah.
No, but there, you know what, we can laugh at that, but I mean, I feel like I grew up really respecting my elders unless they didn't show me respect.
Yeah, I
You
couldn't
know what
agree
mean?
more. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like for the
totally.
most part, I would always give somebody who was older than me the benefit of the doubt and immediately show them respect.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they don't deserve it through a conversation or the way they're acting, then they don't deserve it. And then you don't have to
Absolutely.
respect them
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
But there is something to be said for somebody that is younger, that is, if somebody's older than you, for the most part, especially in a snowboard community, at least show them some respect. Because if you disrespect somebody that's older than you in the snowboard community, that random rep that maybe you're kind of talking shit on or whatever, like that guy's might have been in the community for 30 years. Like,
yeah, totally.
and it's like snowboarding's small, and maybe my one piece of advice would be don't burn bridges. It happens quick where there's no fucking more bridge.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's like it's a pretty small community, so you start like being an idiot, then that word's gonna spread quick, and yeah,
Totally.
Sayonara, you're out of here.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're just on a fucking toasted little bridge all
Yeah.
alone.
yeah.
You've mentioned a couple times throughout this podcast, or hinted, and I think I'd be doing a giant disservice to you. I know you've talked about this in interviews before. You had an injury that was significant to your life, to all of your close friends, and I think that we should touch on that.
Sure.
So day and age,
Yeah.
Hurley Road Gap. You take it from here.
Okay. Young man trying to make a name for himself. You know, I'm in Sandbox now, so that's important to me. I'm like, I've worked my way through Narcor, and now I'm getting the opportunity. Ride Snowboards is paying for me to be in this video, you know. So I do like a half year the year before, and now I'm fully in with this day and age video. So this is the first kind of opportunity for me. At the time, I'm riding rails, so I go on a couple rail trips early season. I'm feeling really good. I'm riding well. I got a bunch of street clips, and now we're moving into like February, I believe, of the season, and you know, getting into the backcountry now. So getting a bunch of days out, and really green. I should mention this, like super green in the backcountry at this time. You know, really new, pretty inexperienced, So yeah, that day we have a crew. We're going out to the Hurley Road Gap, which is a really famous, iconic jump in like Pemberton, basically. And again, just like kind of I'm not really ready for that, I guess, because I'm up there. I essentially dust off someone's old jump, and I go FT, try back 7, and case the shit out of the road. So basically fall, 40 plus feet dead to like a icy cat road. Needless to say, really hurt myself. Shattered my ankle, my heel bone, like into dust basically, and broke 2 vertebrae in my back. So pretty heavy injury, and a lot to learn from it, basically. And it really was a shitty, recovery. And next following year and a half or so of my life was just kind of trying to get back to where I was, or at least, but basically try and get back. But at the time, to go into it a little more, like at that time when I got injured, I was told that I'd probably never snowboard again, certainly not at any kind of professional or sponsored level. I was told to go back to school, get a desk job, because I wouldn't even be able to stand on my feet for 8 hours a day. Like, this is the kind of information that I'm receiving from the surgeons and the doctors. So basically my whole life is exploding, and it really sucked. So, but as things progressed, I started getting physiotherapy from someone in Ontario. I moved home. My family really supported me through the recovery, and I started getting physiotherapy. And my physiotherapist was just kind of like, "Wait, what'd they tell you? Like, no, we got this. Like, do you want to get better?" And I'm like, yeah, I want to get better. Like, okay, like, are you willing to do the work you need to do to get better? I'm like, hell yeah, I've always been down to do the work, like I've always kind of considered myself a hardworking person. So started just really grinding it out in physio and like taking all the proper steps to strengthen my body and recover. And then really started to see the steps being taken and improvement, So I did go back to school for a semester. I was like, oh, I'm gonna like, I really love the snowboard industry. So I'm going to try to go get like a marketing degree and maybe be a team manager or something. I want to hang out with all my friends and do this still. So went home, went to college, and all the meanwhile I'm like grinding it out in the gym and at physio and seeing really good steps. And then boom, before you know it, I'm dropping out of college and I'm moving back to Whistler because it all started kind of like moving in that direction. So yeah, it was a really shitty time and trying to keep it a little tight because I have told this story a bunch of times, but probably a lot of people haven't heard it. So that's kind of like the quick version of it, I guess.
Yeah, that was heavy. That one echoed through the snowboard community fast. When you were coming around on that back seven, did you immediately know you didn't have the speed?
Yeah.
And did you think it was bad when you came up short? You knew something was wrong?
Oh yeah. Okay.
How did you get out of there?
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. Like I come off there's like, I mean, again, I could go on and on about the story. We could spend like hours, but I was sort of like told, drop in from here, it's tons of speed. And I did a speed check and it was like, damn, that feels really slow. So I went up even higher, another like 10 feet higher. And I'm like, all right, well, if the people who hit it like 2 weeks ago are telling me to hit it from here, then I'm 10 feet higher. Like that's gotta be good, And sure enough, the snow was sticky. Like I mentioned before, I didn't probably put enough work into the in-run. So, it's inexperience and I come off the jump and I grab and I look and I see it. And, in the clip, you can see me, I open up halfway through. I'm getting ready for impact. Right. And so, yeah, wham on the ground. Yeah, I mean, it was quite the impact, but I do remember pretty much everything. And yeah, immediately like knew I was really hurt. Mainly like in my lower, like in my leg, basically. I thought I broke my tib fib. That's what I thought was broken. Just cause in my like lower, in my boot, area, it was like really broken feeling. Like you could tell it was all very broken in there. But I'm like laying on the cat road and the homies all come up to me and they're just like, oh my God, what are we going to do now? And then, so how do we get out of there? We sort of weighed the options. And at this time also, like, it's not a lot of first aid equipment or sat phones or anything in that era. I think we've come a long way with being more prepared for situations like this. But at that time there was none of those things. So we're sitting there, we're an hour from cell service. So we start kind of being like, well, how are we going to get you out of here? Ideally a helicopter, but don't really see where it's even going to land. So yeah, we're kind of like weighing the options. Like, how do we even get a helicopter in here? It's going to take an hour for someone to even go call a helicopter. And then who knows how long it's going to get here. Where's it even going to land? I'm starting to like really be in a lot of pain. So we're like, I think Belzil brought his snowmobile over to me. And they're like, let's try and get you up on this sled. And I'm like, all right. So they kind of like pull me up, and that's when I feel my back. And I'm like, oh God. Like I think the pain from my foot was like overweighing what had gone on in my core. So then I feel my back. I'm like, oh my God, my back's like really hurt too. So we get me up on the snowmobile, and they're like, okay, so like you want to hold on to someone while they drive. And just in my mind, I'm like, oh man, if someone else is in control of the throttle and I'm like holding on and being like jarred around on the snowmobile. Like, I don't think that's going to work. So I just want to try to drive this snowmobile myself. So they're like, okay, well, just like try to go 100 feet on the sled and see how it feels. And then we'll like reassess. And so Belzil starts his sled for me, and I start driving it, and I just don't stop. I just like keep going. I'm like, yep, this is going to work for me. I need to get the fuck out of here now. And so I just keep sledding. And I'm sure it was probably like, the guys were probably like, oh God, he's not stopping. And so I guess they just packed up my stuff and just kind of like started chasing me down. And it was a hell ride out, like whooped out trail, you know, back to the truck, and loaded me into the truck, and just got me to the hospital. And then it was into all sorts of uncertainty, basically. Being told your back's broken, all that noise is obviously pretty stressful. So down to the city, all, CAT scans, all that stuff. And then just kind of like planning, no surgery on my back, which was, thank God, but a pretty major surgery on my ankle and my heel, specifically. So I've got 12 pins in my heel bone, with a plate on the side currently to this day. So yeah, but you know what, like all the respect to the surgeons, cause like they bolted me back together, and it was a pretty hellish recovery, but like, I got back, which is something I'm pretty proud of. So
You should be very proud of that.
Thank you.
I mean, I can't stress how there's actually a poster to our right here of Devin Wall shot by Dano doing, I think that's the first ever land on it too. Back three tail.
Yeah.
Dev's on the form there.
Sick.
I think it's Impulse maybe. Anyways, that thing is fucking huge.
Yeah, it's a big jump.
It's a big.
Yeah,
it's a
big one.
Serious thing. And Travis Rice on his bomb hole even said like one of his many pieces of advice throughout that whole episode he stresses is people don't spend enough time on in-runs.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like,
yeah, it was a huge learning experience, And like, honestly, the whole, sorry to cut you off.
No, not at all.
Please continue your thought.
No, my thought ended.
Okay. But like the whole thing from top to bottom was a massive learning experience, from like me accepting and knowing that like, I was like maybe trying to blame other people for bad information. Like, no, this is all your fault. Like you didn't take the right steps. And in my defense, I'm young. I don't really know what I'm doing exactly. And maybe I shouldn't have been hitting that jump, or I should have had some more like, knowledge or help to do so. But like, I mean, there's a silver lining in everything that happens. And like, I don't regret that happening. Like, yes, I wish I didn't like get worked on the Hurley Road Gap, like, and have to like do all this crazy recovery, but like so much learning came out of that. And so much like, even going home and like all the like relationships that got rekindled, like all my childhood friends that were there for me, my family, like all of those things don't happen if I don't like get really fucked up, hurt, and move home, and then like spend that year at home and like rebuilding all these relationships, and then like actually like getting in really good shape and like coming back stronger, and like and then just like knowing to, okay, let's slow it down a little bit here and make sure this in-run's primed, and make sure you're not like risk assessment, right? Like knowing that you're going to take the right steps to minimize the risk. And that's so important to avoid those kind of like catastrophic injuries. So yeah, the whole thing was a massive learning experience, and this really sucks it happened, but like in a weird way, it's like it needed to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing that my fiance has really taught me over the years is she really is like, look for the silver lining.
Yeah, you
or
have
like
to.
There's like a reason for these things to happen. And I think that if you can't look at life in that light, it's going to be very hard.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to be like, okay, well, this happened to me. What are the reasons? You go back, you spend time with your mom, you were saying, you hang out with some your childhood friends, you get in shape. You're looking like it probably more than changed a lot of, I mean, I think that actually you do know, but it's like, wow, an injury like that where a doctor, which I've been in a similar situation where a doctor's like, we don't know if you're going to walk again and stuff, like you hear that shit and you're like, well, you do change forever. There's a part of you that's like, okay, like I do love snowboarding, but I do need to minimize these risks as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And yes, to hear like the doctor say that shit to you, like that was hard, you know. That was like I cried. I was like, oh my God, like I love this. Is like literally I built my whole life into like this lane, and like boom, it's gone, you know. But another learning thing, like get a second opinion, you know. Like this
big.
The doctor, like all the respect to him, he was the surgeon. He bolted me back together, my foot, and here I am, you know. But yeah, he's definitely wrong about that because I came back and
10 more years of video parts.
yeah, like
and you're not riding fucking chill stuff either. Like,
thank you,
homie's going in.
Thank you.
That
man.
like a more new calculated powder boarding. You're not on the steel anymore.
Yeah, it stopped the steel and it slowed down the big park jumps for me. Like, but it really didn't actually. Like for park jumps anyway. Like I still went to super parks after that and did that stuff, but just stopped the street boarding, which is too bad. I did love that, and but yeah, I mean, they were wrong, and but I needed that, like a lot of respect to the physiotherapist. He really, you know, put my mind into a different lane, and that allowed me to like get motivated again to take the steps I needed to get better. So, and my mom really took care of me, and my dad, like they took really good care of me like throughout that whole process. So I'm really, really lucky to have like a good support network there.
I mean, look at Demo's injury too. Like he was same thing. Like his doctor was like back surgery, never going to be able to walk again. And then he was like, what? His parents flew in. They're like, what's going on? Then he gets a second opinion and they're like, no, you do not need back surgery again. Same thing. Like you need to do physio. We got to change your diet up. And like the question, I think a lot of physio, they immediately ask you, like, are you willing to put the work in?
Yeah.
Because if you are, we can get you back pretty far. But it's not like an easy process.
Yeah.
And you have to be pretty determined and you have to put the work in.
Yeah. And one thing that was really cool, I'll say also, is my physiotherapist, his name's Jesse from Ontario. I doubt he'll ever hear this, but if he does, like, thank you for everything, A. But B, like, one thing that was really cool with him was that he was a young guy. He's only a year older than me. He was an athletic person, and he worked at a physiotherapy clinic that was directly across the street from the college campus I was going to. And he gave me so much free physiotherapy because the physiotherapy office allowed me to sort of buy a gym membership to go and work out there. So I'm coming into the physio office. They got a gym set up. Basically did this only for me. It wasn't something they offer for other people. And Jesse is coming out in between sessions for people. He's coming out and essentially like personal training me. He's like, lay down on the table. I'm going to work your ankle for a bit, like all for free. And then like just speaking with him, like he was so used to a lot of people who have benefits and are just like kind of coming in to use their physio benefits. And like, they'd like, you know, I have this problem. And then he'd give them a bunch of exercises and they wouldn't do it. And then they'd come back the next week and be like, yeah, it still hurts. And he's like, you're not doing anything, you know? And then like, there I am in the corner of the gym, like just grinding it out like hours every day. And he like really liked that. And so just like helped me out so much, you know? So just like massive respect to him. That was like a huge hookup that really helped me.
Totally. You have 50% of the journey is through physical work. Yeah. And then 50% of that journey is mental.
Yeah. And he helped me with both.
Yeah.
So it was like really cool.
I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of like, if you get injured, you got to like work your ass off at physio, the gym, recovery, like hot, cold, ice, eating properly, diet, that whole thing. But if you also don't have a clear like vision of you getting better, like you're fucked. The mental game is so big with those injuries. Like I really think that if you mentally give up, but you still go to the gym, you're screwed. It's like your body's already being told what to do.
Yeah, you kind of got to like believe that there is an end goal that you can reach. You know?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I really think that too.
Oh, God.
Gibbons Apres Lager.
Thank you, dude.
Try your beer. Try your new favorite beer out today. Beau, that fucking injury still stresses me out to this day every time I sled under that massive gap. The Hurley Road gap, and I definitely know that your body will forever thank you for heading over to the Scandinav spa, little bath pass for Bojo. some ice cold relaxation, rinse and repeat. Big shout outs to the Scandinav Spa for these passes for our guests. If you've never been, I highly recommend. Have you been?
I've been like a million times, man. It's my favorite. And thank you so much. Thanks, Scandinav.
Yeah. Thanks for
Stoked.
driving up here, Beau.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll pay for people's gas one day. The more Patreon members we get, the better for the guests.
Dude, thank you. This is sick.
You're welcome, my man. After this injury, Bojo moves into natty boarding. He moves away from the steel. At that time, you know, you go home, take care of yourself, you rehab 2011-ish, I'm imagining.
Yeah, I think that the injury was 2011 or
So-
2012, one of the two.
On your bounce back years,
Yep.
what riders were influencing you at the time now that you kind of have this newfound lane that Beau's moving into?
The easy answer is Blauvelt for sure. I think at that time he probably just got on Ride. He had done that forum part where he ended the movie with that crazy back seven, and that really like stood out to me, and I think was something I just really like started to learn to like. It was just really appealing to me. I started really like seeing these boarders ride the mountains, and it just was like, whoa, that looks insane, you know. So I'd say Blauvelt was a huge inspo at that time for me. And also, I think he had just signed with Ride, so I was like, "This is my guy," you know, like this is who I want to be, and or like, somehow try to emulate him, which is like impossible. But what a guy, yeah.
That good pick. I've been trying to emulate a couple riders throughout my career, and he's amongst them. And it's been a bad journey for me.
Yeah, I mean, same, man, same. You can try, but it's like certain people, you know, it's not gonna happen. But you gotta set your goals high, you know.
You got to spend some time with Jake.
I did, yeah.
A couple greats actually. We'll get into the other names afterwards, but what was something maybe you learned from him? Is he as good on camera as off camera? Did you enjoy being out in the mountains with him? What was your experience like filming with Jake Blauvelt?
He's better in person than on camera, which says a lot. Like, it's insane watching him snowboard in person. Watching him like getting to hang with him was pretty cool. We had met like a couple times, and just through like ride stuff, I think. And then, he reached out. He was filming a project and planning on coming up to Pemberton, and he reached out to me and was like, "Yo, we should link up for a couple weeks." So, sign me up for that. And so I got lucky to get out with him and like Gabe Langlois, which is a pretty heavy duo there, and Kyle Schwartz too, another filmer. And Dave Craig, my filmer. So it was actually pretty crazy. We had like 3-4 cameras, and Jay Fenton, like we had 4 media. All video, filming the two of us for like 10 days or something. It was pretty insane. But what I learned from Jake, just like, it's pretty wild watching him operate in the mountains. Like, he really took his slow time, his approach to that week. I don't think he had been riding much that season up until the point where he came out to Whistler to link up. So we start going out, and I'm like fully riding like a ton before this. In fact, I think I was going like too hard the week up to the week with Jake. So I was like pretty kind of beat down and tired. So anyway, like the first half of like filming with Jake, I feel like I was really like riding strong, and Jake was kind of just like eyeing things up and taking his time, doing some turns. And I'm like, man, that's like really sick. But like he was kind of moving slow. And then all of a sudden he just turned on, and it was just like, oh, okay. And he just started like snapping and like doing crazy shit all over the place. And then I was like, I was too tired and I was dead. So I'm just like tomahawking down everything, and Jake's just like blasting huge natty airs everywhere. I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, this is what a pro snowboarder is, you know, like there's certain riders, I feel like when you see them ride in person, you're just like, damn, like that is a pro snowboarder, you know, like, and there's like, it only happens so often when you see those kinds of riders, but Jake is one of those people where you just see the board control and the fundamentals is just like insane.
And 2 other riders I feel like I would put in that category that you've been fortunate enough to spend time with, E-Jack as well as Pat Moore.
Yeah, totally.
I've heard you speak on those times. Maybe touch on filming with those two, because those 2 cats, the way that you described like Jake's approach and how when he turns on, he's a pro and you can just see it.
Yeah. So
Let's
again,
go.
How did I meet? I'm trying to think with Pat. Pretty sure we went to Japan together. Was my first time, and then we hit it off there pretty good. It was a really fun trip, and then he also just hit me up and was like, "Hey, I'm thinking of coming up to Whistler. Like, do you wanna crew up?" And I just had my first son, and Pat came and like lived with us in our little townhome in Pemberton for like maybe, I don't know, 10 days, something like that again. And we went out like every day. And yeah, seeing him operate in the mountains was pretty wild too. Like I would like sled past something and he'd like stop the crew and just be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like that's a jump spot. I'm like, really? And it was like something I would have like even thought. And we build the jump and boom, it works, you know, and he films like an A grade, you know, and yeah, just an awesome, like really chill human too. Like, and it's pretty funny because you watch his old video parts and he's just like smashing his board on his head and like being like a psychopath. And then like the entire time we were out, like so chill, so calm, so calculated. And then just like a powerhouse. Like, I don't think he really fell like much or once even on that whole stretch we did together. He was just landing everything, bolts, and yeah, really impressive. And yeah, just to keep going, like with Ejac, like whole different animal too. Like that guy just charges. He's a powerhouse. He's sending it like, yeah, it's really impressive. And same thing, like it was pretty insane to be like, and this was all happening pretty like back to back to back of like these people hitting me up to go snowboarding. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know,
Look
like,
at your phone. Jake Blauvelt.
What?
The next year.
Yeah, like Pat
Moore.
And then like Eric Jackson. Like, wait, the Eric Jackson? Like what? And so yeah, it was pretty cool to have
The nod.
Yeah, it was. It honestly felt like the nod, you know? And even like at that time, I was like, I don't know. I feel like I had like accepted my place in the industry, and I was like not technically a pro snowboarder for Ride even at that time. And I was kind of like, had accepted that. I was like, no, it's probably never going to happen, you know, that I'd like turn pro for my main sponsor. Like, and in my mind, I was like, I'm in my 30s. It hasn't happened yet. Like, probably not going to happen. And then Jake Blauvelt hits me up to go snowboarding. And then like Pat Moore hits me up, and then Ejac. And then I'm like, I'm riding with all of you guys who are all pros. And I'm just like, wait a minute here. Like every time I went out snowboarding, I was with these like pretty established pros for a while there. And it started being like, damn, like, oh, I kind of want to be pro, right? So it's kind of an interesting like mindset turn too, to have like that nod from these people who are like hitting me up to go snowboard and being like, okay, they actually like really respect me as a rider. So that was kind of cool.
Did you feel those years before you turned pro, was it a little frustrating not have not gotten the nod? Because I mean, the King Snow year,
yeah,
when you do turn pro for Ride,
yeah,
they interview people like Spencer Schubert, Jake Blauvelt, and they all respond with like, damn, Beau, we already thought you were pro. But like, it doesn't matter if people think you're pro. Like,
right.
How does that feel when people think you're pro, but you're like, but the brand hasn't given you that nod yet? Was that kind of eating you up at all? Or?
I absolutely was. It's like, more like proud to say that, but it was like, I mean, listen, like as a kid growing up, like teenage Beau, like my goal, be a pro snowboarder, right? I'm moving out west. I'm putting all my eggs in this basket. I'm like going to work hard. I'm going to try to do this, right? So as the years go on, I'm getting a lot of support. I'm growing within the brands that I'm riding for, and everything's kind of like going towards this goal. And then really like that injury happens, that major Hurley gap injury. And that actually really sets me back quite a bit, you know? So I'm like back down a little bit. It takes me another 1.5, 2 years to kind of get back to where I was riding well. And I start kind of doing my thing again. And I'm like an AM rider on Ride. And I'm like, at that point, I've sort of had like maybe accepted or definitely kind of thought maybe it might not ever happen. And, but yeah, then there was definitely a shift in my mindset where I was definitely kind of getting the nod or like the stuff I was doing, I felt was legitimate to be given that, title from my main sponsor who I'd ridden for since I was, you know, started being a sponsored snowboarder. So yeah, was at a certain point it did shift, and I was like a little bit like bummed that I hadn't been put on the pro team. And, you know, I had even like told my team managers, like, listen, like this is something that kind of bothers me. You know, I'm in my 30s and I'm still on the AM team. Like what's the end goal here? Like, am I just going to be an AM forever? Or is there any way what more can I do to be a pro snowboarder in your eyes? And they're like, well, you are a pro snowboarder. I'm like, no, I'm not. Look at the website. I'm on the AM team. So they're like, yeah, but that's just like, I'm like, no, but that's important to me. You know, like it was important to me. It was a goal that I had set as a kid. And my main sponsor had not really had not confirmed that, you know, that I was on the AM team officially. And so my mindset definitely did change like a little bit. I was like, damn, I really do want that title. And even if it's not like a huge, you know, money raise or anything, it's just like, I just really want you to change my title on the website. And so, yeah, I was like kind of like spiteboarding in a little bit of a way that those couple years I was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to like prove everyone that I can hang, you know? So yeah, there were some moments where I'd like have a good day out filming, like stack a few clips and I'd just be driving home like, man, I got to do this one day. Like, I'm going to like freak out if they don't, you know? And so yeah, it was pretty sick when they did. And like, yeah, you were there when they did, which was really cool. It was special.
I mean, at that point in all of snowboarding, I felt like nobody was more deserving, but it made it that much more special to, I would believe, yourself and to all of us who were there. Crispin, who had worked with Ride for a long time. Razman was there. It was like, at that point, you had filmed some of your best consecutive video parts back to back.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then it was like, it was so obvious, but it was like, yeah, people like Spencer Schubert and Jake Blauvelt are like, we already thought, or Hannah Beeman, everyone already thought you were pro, but it's like, no, you wanted that stamp of approval from the brand you were riding for. And when they gave it to you, I kind of thought it was pretty good timing. Like there was like, you had filmed so many banger video parts. It was like 3 in a row of some of your best parts.
Thank you.
You know, the front 10 double on rock jump. You just like, I just feel like there was years in a row where you were like only getting better.
Right.
And you were finding your lane more and more, which was like natty board. Like that you were saying that you were inspired by Jake Blauvelt's approach. I feel like those last couple years before you turned pro in like 2021 or 2020, whenever the King Snow year was.
Yeah, I think it was like 2021.
Like you found your stride and you weren't like, I need to step. Like at one point, everyone in snowboarding finds their lane.
Right.
And then like sticking true to that lane is what like really shines. And that year, filming with you all year, King Snow, I was like, I felt like all of us were kind of on one. That was a good season for the crew.
Yeah, it was. It was cool. It was we had a pretty decent snow year, and it was just like a good crew with good filmers and a good like formula. So yeah, and that was the year I went pro, but it didn't happen until like, you know, kind of later in the season. So that again, like that whole beginning part of the season, I was like kind of angry boarding, you know.
Dude, angry boarding works though.
It did, yeah, and it like,
fuels the fire.
Yeah, it was something that I really wanted and was using as motivation to just, I guess, like kind of, you know, prove people wrong or you know, prove that I did feel like I deserved that. So
I feel like everybody needs a driving factor to progress to like new heights. You know what I mean? So you need something that's pushing you. So it's like, or I think a lot of people use the word like you need a why.
Right.
And if you have that, there's something driving you so you can push yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when you fully lose that, it's like that's when you fully don't care. It's like, well, then what's going to, if you didn't land your back 7 first or second try, what's going to push you to hit it that third time? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
well,
totally.
I'll tell you what, you're AM and you feel like you should be pro. That'll push you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You're like, oh no, I'm going to back 7 this right into that sliver.
Yeah.
The last one that's left, that's Beau's sliver.
Yeah, I'm going to take that one right there. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. That year for me was like one of the most fun that I remember. Like,
yeah, it was cool. It was, I remember we all like worked quite hard, you know. It was like we were doing whatever it needed to happen to film that video. So it was cool. It was, and good friends, you know, good crew.
Really good crew.
Yeah.
How important is a video part to you?
It's really important, man. Like, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's everything. Like, it's not, I don't think that video parts necessarily are why I got turned pro. It's definitely a factor of it, but weirdly in this new age of social media and what's kind of happening and the landscape of the industry is like, I really think my social media really was a bit of my identity with like the POV stuff that I was doing as well. And I do think that was like a big reason people were maybe seeing my stuff, or, you know, I was getting hit up by people like that I respected, like real big pros and stuff. Like, I think they were just seeing my POV stuff and being like, damn, Beau's riding some cool shit. And we should go with him because he knows where to go, and look, it's right here on Instagram or whatever. Right. So I do think like that was a big part of it, but yes, like snowboard videos, like we touched on before, and video parts are like massively important. Cause like, look at the impact that like video gangs had on me as a kid. Or like Chalk Smack or all these videos, you know? So, yeah, but that was our era, right? Like maybe it's different now, but I don't know.
I think it is different. How important do you think videos are to snowboarding as a whole? Do you feel like they're completely necessary all the way to like not necessary at all?
Yes, no, they're necessary. I mean, look at this year, like that Brown video, like everyone's pumping their tires. It was good. Like, and what made it good? Yes, the boarding was good, but like the lifeies in that video were so funny and so good. Like that's kind of what really made, I think, the video. Like the riding's really great for sure, but yeah, the whole vibe of that video is just like, that was really cool, you know? And then like, I think back to all like the 8 Mile videos and stuff like that. And like just the whole videos show the culture, you know? So I think it's so important to have that. Without that, it's just like, what is it? You know, the X Games, like the, you know, quadruple corks and all this stuff. Like, I think it's important to see how that side of snowboarding is being lived. And yeah, I think it's extremely important. Basically, short answer. Long answer, but saying it's short.
No, good picks too. 8 Mile, great representation of lifestyle. Yeah. The new Brown movie,
really
great,
good.
like personality and snowboarding, and showcasing the personality behind snowboarding before it turns into this kind of robotic, redundant thing where everything kind of looks the same. Because if you do a good job of filming lifestyles of people's unique personalities, no video can ever look the same because every single rider has a unique personality.
Right.
And if you can showcase that unique personality through a video, videos should never get boring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're all a bunch of characters.
Yeah.
And like you go to a snowboard premiere and hang out with everybody, like this is an interesting crowd.
Yeah, totally.
Like snowboarders are funny and like I like when I go to a premiere and I look at all the characters. You know what I mean?
It's a fun culture.
It's a fun culture.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Snowboard premieres are pretty hilarious for sure.
And also a super important part of snowboarding. We touched on that.
Yeah.
Beau Bishop.
Yes,
You're
sir.
big on bombing big mountains, going fast, speed. I almost feel like when I see your snowboarding these days, I think of like Metallica, old Metallica. And I'm thinking Alaska kind of works for your riding really well. Like you've been before with the legend Andrew Burns.
I have.
Are you gonna go back, or is it itching? Do you want to go back?
Yes. It's somewhere I've wanted to go back basically since I went, and I think I went maybe 6-7 years ago or something. And I went to Haynes with Andrew Burns, and it was really eye opening. And at that time I was. You know, I was like, I could hold my own with like riding powder and stuff, but I definitely like with riding big steep mountains, like pretty green, you know, especially the scale of everything up there. But it is something I want to do so badly before it's all over, you know? So, but it's challenging because it's expensive, and also just finding the crew to go up there with is challenging. So, yeah, if anyone wants to go to Haynes or to Valdez or something, hit me up. I'm down. Let's do it.
What would be the dream crew to Alaska for you?
Oh my God.
There's 4 people in the Bird. Let's say 3 people in the Bird, and you get to let's switch this all up. I'm going back. I keep thinking of more things as I'm talking here, bro. Okay. Filmer, photographer, 3 riders, Alaska, all paid. Who you going with?
Ooh, let's throw Rusty in there, a new film dog. He's killing it. Photog. I'm gonna bring Crispin. He's been my guy from start. He's been the guy I've had probably the most success with. So I'm bringing Crispin. Riders, man, that's hard. God damn, 3 riders. including me. So just two. I'm pick two people.
No. Let's say or you can do whatever. Freestyle.
Damn, man. Like I don't even know if I have an answer for this right now. Fuck.
It doesn't have to be like 3 and then like everybody else is your losers. It should just be 3 off the top of your head. Just 3 people you like.
Okay, I'm going with Blauvelt because I feel like he could just teach me.
Great pick.
And I'm taking Mikkel Bang. Yeah, he's.
So thank God. I was like waiting for you to be like, and Belzil and Rasmus and Joe. I'm like,
sorry,
don't
guys.
bring us.
No, I spent enough time with you guys. I'm bringing some like guys. I don't even know Mikkel that well, but God, I love him. And his snowboarding in those mountains is just like lately it's just been like it's too mind blowing. I'd love to see it in person.
Mikkel Bang is the best snowboarder on Earth right now.
He's so good.
He's the best snowboarder on Earth. The best snowboarder in powder is Mikkel Bang.
Yeah.
Nobody. He's the best style, everything, and in rails is Tommy Gesme, and that to me is like.
Okay, I'm gonna pick one more because you said 3. I'm bringing John Jackson too. Let's go, John Jackson, just to watch like that manimal ride down the mountains up there. It'd be so fun. Just in person, it'd be insane.
Man, that would be. You would have Mikkel like with
I would be so out of my element
with a bunch of beers that are empty taped into like one of those beer swords. You know what I mean? Then you'd have John Jay with like I feel like John would probably meet you in Alaska like with his family, and he'd be like giving the baby some milk before he got in the heli. Blauvelt, I feel like Blauvelt's kind of bougie.
Blauvelt would just be fun to watch, like do anything down the mountain because like I
crew,
mentioned, he's my
pick.
guy. He's just like flow master. It'd be fun to watch him up there.
Yeah, he's the modern day. I don't think you can say this exactly because no one can, but he's like, to me, he's the modern day Nicholas Mueller or the closest thing to a Nicholas Mueller, but nobody can touch Nicholas Mueller because he's the goat.
Yeah, he's pretty insane for sure. Yeah.
All right.
That's a hard answer though. But anyway, let's move on.
We're going in here. Okay, this is snowboard trivia.
Oh damn.
Brought to you by all the sponsors from the show. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. We can shout out Gibbons Après Lager because we're drinking their beer and we're in their beautiful studio. All right, specific to you, snowboard trivia. Okay, who's got the best jokes?
Who's got the best jokes? Damn. I mean, damn, Jody, you're kind of funny out there, man. Like,
good pick. Good pick.
Okay,
all right,
let's go.
All right, best Black Park rider
Of all time? Dave 410.
Nice.
Yeah, David 410. Yeah, sticking with that one.
Okay, gnarliest shredder.
Like ever?
Just to you.
The gnarliest shredder, Travis Rice.
Yeah, good pick.
Yeah.
Best eye for features.
Ooh, probably Mikkel Bang.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, totally. Most consistent border.
Chris Rasmus.
That's a good pick too. Biggest spaz in the backcountry.
Pat Moore back in the day, even though I didn't experience it firsthand. Sorry, Pat.
Best letter.
Probably Dustin Craven.
Whoa, good pick.
Yeah, he's pretty savage.
Best
From my experience.
Best letter of the Man Boys.
Me.
And
Me.
worst letter of the Man Boys.
Me, best. Jody, you, worst.
Good pick. Good pick. I mean, yeah, I don't know who else you could say was worst. Yeah, that's a good group of letters.
Chris would say himself is the best. I like to just think I'm the best too.
Yeah, I think you're really good, bro. You're a phenomenal sledder. All right. Photographer, you're calling. You pick Crispin.
Yeah, we're going Crispin. He's my guy.
The local goat of Whistler.
Devin Walsh. Easy answer.
What makes Devin so elite in your eyes?
Why
are you down?
I think just like the consistency of what he's done in the history of snowboarding, and then like the pioneering of stuff, basically zones, jumps, all the stuff that got hit like first by Devin and people he was with. To me, that's what I care about is like that's where I've built my life is in Whistler and the Whistler backcountry. So kind of just that's what's important to me, and like to I guess Devin Walsh, and then like man, I'd even say like Mikey Rentz is like he's like the other Devin, you know, in my opinion. Like he was pioneering all sorts of different zones and spots and jumps, and so yeah, those two are the guys that come to mind as like the Whistler goats.
You've spent a lot of time with Mikey over these last couple years.
Yeah.
What makes Mikey Rents enjoyable to be around and to snowboard with?
I mean, just like he likes to drink beers, and so do I. So we have that in common, which is fun. And then just like, he's just honestly like there's like so much positivity around what he's doing. And then he's also just so dialed. Like, I've honestly seen the guy stuck maybe once on his snowmobile. Like, best sledder is like, he's up there with Dustin as probably the best that I know. And yeah, just an all around like fun person to be around. One-liners like galore. Always has really funny things to say. He sends me like a new rap playlist every month, which is hilarious. And he has wicked stories because he's just been like doing this for so long. So the guy's just like a well of hilarious stories of iconic history of snowboarding.
You know what I miss is people getting paid. Mikey is the best. Great job to articulate that. But while you were talking about Mikey there, I was thinking about how savage Mikey was like 2014 while he was filming with like UC.
Oh yeah.
And how gnarly and big they were going. And then if you compare that to now,
hard to say.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are leaning more into the natty boarding, but I would like to see just a handful of people. I mean, Ben Ferg does, and there's a couple snowboarders that are young that still want to go like kind of dummy big. Sage.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's still happening. Like, I hear a lot of people be like, it was so much bigger and better in the day. And I'm like, I'm still watching a handful of clips every year. And I'm like, the people are going massive and doing massive tricks. And another thing too, like, especially if you go like back even further, like, yes, people were going massive, but like some of these videos, like you're watching guys double hand drag through the landing and like that's a clip, and it's like nowadays that's just not a clip, you know? And so like everything's like way more dialed. And I do personally believe that like there is a lot of people going like dummy still.
Who are some of the dummy riders right now?
Well, you named, you know, like Sage is really going wild. Red Gerard is really impressing me lately. Ben Ferg, I mean, like Rasmus stands out, especially in person, like watching him, being out with him. You got to learn. I think you and I both have learned this. Like we ride with Chris Rasmus a lot. Do not try to compare yourself to Chris. It is like something you need to be out there and be like, don't get down on yourself when like you can't land something and Chris is going like 35 feet past where you're trying to go. And then he lands. You're like, oh God. Like, so, yeah, like, but yeah, there's a handful of people still really charging out there. I'm trying to think like who else.
Those great picks. I mean,
Red's really hitting with me right now, like his style and just like his lane he's taking and everything. Cicerelli too, man. Cicerelli's impressing the hell out of me lately. Going big, technical tricks, awesome dude. Yeah, I back him.
I really like Sebi DeBuck.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of like, we're sprinkling some people out, but I had to throw his name out because I feel like we were going through the list there. I mean, I think this is just border talk right now. Brock Crouch in the coming years will film some of the best video parts to date. I think that he has like he's got rowdiness, kind of like he's got that mammoth swag, you know what I mean? Like the Matt Hammer, John Jay kind of vibe mixed with like top level snowboarding. And I
couldn't agree more, man.
I think he's got something going on.
And I
like his shit.
I got to spend a couple days with him this season already.
Oh, nice.
And man, like I had only met him once at Baldface for one of those avalanche risk maturity courses we did. And he was even like, that would have been like 5 years ago. So he was real young then. And I feel like a little more shy. And this time around, I got to go out with him and Mikey and like and do some just fun boarding. And man, I just liked everything about him. Yeah. He was hilarious. He just like, he's an amazing snowboarder. And yeah, he's got a lot of really good things going on for him.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward again, like you said, to see what he comes up with because he's young and yeah, he's going to do well.
Natty Select, who you hoping for the W or on the podium this year? Revelstoke coming in March?
Let's go. We got to get Chris, man. We got to get Razman up on the podium. Let's go, Chris.
Come on, Raz.
He's who I'm usually gunning for. And then Dustin. I always love rooting for the Canadians. And then who else? I don't know. Yeah, let's just say Dustin and Chris. Let's get the Canadians on the box.
Yeah. Okay, me too. Great picks.
Okay.
Who do you think's gonna do the most?
Cicerelli. Yeah,
Oh.
1, 2, 3. We got Cicerelli in there. Wait, McMo? Damn, we got a lot of Canadians. Okay. Someone's got to be off the box. Who's it going to be?
Who's somebody? Oh, well, you gotta chop one. You pick.
No, I'm not doing it. You do it.
I'll chop McMo.
sorry, McMo. You've had enough success.
He's so. I love you, dog, and I'm
Yeah.
always rooting for you. But I just think that as
I like
far
it.
as a career move, it would help the other three a lot.
Way more.
Cicerelli in third because he's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Rasman's doing pretty good, so he'll go second. We'll go Dustin first.
Dustin wins again.
Dustin
does a shoey out of his boot again.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. There's so many, that whole lineup of riders that's there.
Yep.
Incredible. Love everything about that event. Big fan. Are there any riders that you would love to see there that haven't been there over the last couple years?
I mean, I think a lot of people are gunning to see young Bryn Alexander in the mix. You watch that guy, the clips he's put out, the natty ability, it's pretty incredible. So yeah, I'd hope to see him on the tour one day. And then definitely irks me a bit that Blauvelt never got an invite. I think that's pretty insane.
I don't know the details
Yeah.
or the politics with that, or if that's even true, so I'm not gonna comment.
No, I'm pretty sure he got snubbed the first couple years. And then I believe he maybe had a surgery or something recently that he maybe was invited but couldn't do it. But anyway, it's just when it was like first happening, I'm like, this guy's got like, he's arguably modeled his whole career around natural boarding, and it's the natural selection. Isn't it natural that Jake Blauvelt's in this damn contest? Like, it's just like bummed me out a little bit.
I was surprised too, but I was surprised about a lot of riders, and then until talking to people that are running the event, finding out that either they turn things down,
Right, yeah.
health things,
Yeah, and I don't know,
whatever.
right?
Kazu Kokobo is a great example. Everyone's like, why isn't Kazu there? Well, there's some stuff there that I don't know if he's allowed. I don't know.
Yeah.
But obviously,
And
we
it
all
must
want
be-
Kazu in
It'd
there.
be hard to decide who's coming. Like, who other than Bryn would you say? Like, do you have an opinion of like someone that stands out?
There's a couple like new riders. Like I think that once Stale does 1 year in the backcountry, Stale would be without a doubt a great pick. I think that the natty boarding he filmed with Gimbal God over the last couple years.
Totally. Yeah. I could see that.
I think that I think people like Parker Zamowski could in the incoming years could really surprise people. Once like he's doing rails and backcountry, and he's doing us all proud. And he filmed 2 video parts this year, and he's been to Alaska with like Jamie Lynn, so he's not full greenhorn out there like riding POW. Like homie knows what he's doing, and I think that because he's so represented in the light of a steel boarder, people haven't really taken his backcountry maybe as serious as they should. I think Nick Baden's another rider that's like really good in POW. I mean, that whole Brown lineup of people that are riding POW, like they're all incredible, and I think and they're young.
Throw Mason Jar in there just
I
to
think
watch someone.
One more
like...
year of safety through Blauvelt. I feel like he's so gnarly that he would chicane off of like.
Yeah, he's just gonna put on a show one way or another. It's gonna be a show, which but yeah, it'll be cool to see how that all goes this year. Hopefully they got enough snow.
Okay, if you could pick old heads, let's say there's an old heads event. No riders that are in the event currently, but a bunch of old heads, and it's like an old timers natural selection. Who would you pick to be in that? I would love to see that event, by the way. I feel like they could still kill it.
Jesse Fox. Yeah.
Oh, great. Dude, I feel Jesse Fox is an incredible snowboarder.
Sorry, I don't want to call him an old head. Is that offensive? I'm so sorry, Jesse.
Dude, we're all in the club now.
Yeah,
if you're over 30 and you snowboard and you still are trying to do like half cab nose presses, you're an old head.
Who else? I mean, God. Yeah. I mean, there's so many good. Like, dude, just put Sheen Campos. I saw Sheen smashing pillows like last year. He was just mangling pillows out there, and I was like, "Damn, homie could probably hang on that big course." Like,
I'm chalking up Kevin Sansalon.
oh, yeah. See, there's
Rube
lots
Goldberg.
Oh yeah, dude. Let's get Rube. Rube would he would just be like in his own head though, and probably just tomahawk us with it.
True. Rube
Yeah.
might not perform based on what's going on in his head of the day. Too much painting in his brain.
Yeah.
Who else would be good? You know, if we're going
Chado.
strictly, Chad Otterstrom would probably
throw
do
Chado
it.
in there.
Yeah, Chado, West Makepeace, just for beautiful temple.
Yeah.
You just get some old like Terrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch of old head snowboarders I would love to see. Maybe at the end of the event they'll get one run through the chop.
Yeah, through the chop. See who survives.
All right, here. We're not done yet, but I did want to just kind of pinpoint and summarize a couple of these chapters because having known you for such a long time, I ran into you on a bus when I first moved to Whistler, and I came up to you and approached you because you had an Elm Company headwear beanie.
That's right.
And I was getting free Elm stuff, and you were getting Elm stuff, and I was like, this guy looks cool. And Beau and I have been friends ever since, and I feel like we've had a
Can
similar...
we say one thing though?
Yeah, what's up?
What were you wearing on your legs?
With some jeans.
Yeah, that's right.
That was like my first...
Jody was in jeans.
Powder and jeans, baby. 140... I was wearing a 148 Tech 9 board, baggy bell-bottom jeans, like just confused kid from Winnipeg.
No, it was sick. And then you went up and just like did like I remember we had met on the bus, and then I saw you in the Wisp Park, and you went like 270 onto a big C box, switch up, 270 out. I was just like, this guy rules.
Yeah, I was trying to be like
the era.
Mike Casanova.
Yeah, it was really sick.
And Lucas Magoon contest era where it was all about the...
So fun.
Yeah. That was kind of the vibe. But, I mean, throughout that, it's been peaks and valleys for both of us. As life does throw you some fucking lemons sometimes.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Now that I'm older, Beau, I'm going to tell you this. You've done everybody proud, and I honestly look up to you way more than I've ever told you. It's like...
Damn, thanks, Jody.
Yeah.
That's
like,
really nice, man.
As a father, as a friend, as the way you carry yourself in life. You've mentioned a couple times you would like to think that you're a hard worker. You're one of the hardest working people I know. And like, yeah, just from everything, man. The successful business, like Bishop Restoration. If you need anything done, please hit up Beau. It's going to be expensive, but worth it. You have some keys and you've unlocked a lot of success. What advice do you have for others who are trying to just succeed in life or to live a fulfilling life?
Damn, I mean, that's pretty like heavy and hard to answer. I think just like try your hardest to like find the silver lining, because like shit's gonna come at you and life's gonna throw you some really difficult situations, and generally there's always something you can take out of it, whether it's like learning or you know, time spent with someone or something. But and just like try to bring a positive vibe, and believe me, like behind closed doors, like I'm not this perfectly positive person. I go through I have my own demons. I have my own temper, but I really try to keep that away from the public. I'm not perfect by any means. I appreciate what you've said so much, but yes, like we all have our own demons and issues. But yeah, like just like work hard, man. Don't be lazy. Like that's just like mainly all I can say. Like if you want to have success, you just need to want it more than the next person, you know? So like you want to be successful. You want to be a pro snowboarder. You want to have a successful business. Like it's not easy. Like nothing's easy. You need to be able to work at it and work harder than the other people. Cause a lot of people want to be successful. A lot of people want to be pro snowboarders. Yeah, you got to work at it, man. Like I don't know much more to say than that, and try to stay positive, and also just like bring a good vibe to the crew, you know, because I think that goes a long way. And something I just try to do like with my friends is like, okay, like let's go out here and have a good time, you know, because how goddamn lucky are we to get to do this, right? Like how many days do we get to go snowboarding a year, right? Like your average person who likes snowboarding, who's into snowboarding, they maybe go like 10 days a year, and that's a lot for them, right? And then like here we are like chalking up like close to 100 days a year or whatever, and like 40, 50 days in the backcountry, like with your good friends, and like experience all this beauty and nature and everything. Like just be grateful and be like, yeah, just know that it's special, and enjoy your time in the mountains. And if you want to be in the mountains, just like try to figure out a way to do it. And if that's what makes you happy, then I don't know. I feel like I just went off on a different direction there.
Awesome. That was, well,
Like,
I'm
I don't know.
I'm legitimately asking this. Yes, we're doing a podcast here, and at 35, I definitely like when I listen to podcasts that there's a bit of a takeaway. But selfishly, I'm asking these questions near the end here because I am really inspired by you, and I do really look up to you. And it is
Thanks,
nice
man.
to have mentor figures that are so close to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that I'm like, I don't have a family yet, but I want one.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
be a good dad, and I see you with your kids, and I see you getting home from sledding and showing up every day for them. And if you can't go the next day, even though the weather's good because you have to do something for Will, you're going home. You know what I mean? And it's like that mixed with like, I understand that you were like, hey, my life's not all,
No.
rainbows and butterflies. I know that, but like knowing that nobody's life is all rainbows and butterflies,
Yeah.
and knowing what you've accomplished, that's what makes it so special to me. Is because I know
Thanks, man.
I know it hasn't been like silver plate, Beau.
No.
Here's life. Like,
Yeah, I've definitely been dealt some shitty cards here and there, but like, yeah, like there's no sense complaining and like crying about it, you know, like you got to kind of try to keep your chin up high and just like keep moving like one foot in front of the other. Like, you know, just the next moment is what's important, not like dwell on the past, you know? So
that's a good one.
It's
the
like,
past is a bad one.
yeah.
Eats you alive.
Yeah. Yeah. Like stupid, like comparison, but in hockey, I'm a goalie, and the position of being a goalie is kind of like insane, because if you're starting to have a bad game, like it just spirals and then you can't stop a beach ball, you know, like, and so like in playing goalie, I'm like, I let a goal in and I'm just like, next shot, doesn't matter, next shot, you know? So it's like, to apply that to like everything in life, just like stuff starts to come at you and it's not going well, like just kind of regroup and just next shot, like let's just keep going here.
Like every human, I feel like you compare yourself to people that are relative in your like space,
Right.
but everybody is so unique, and everybody grew up with such a different life.
Yeah.
And you're different genetic makeup, and you have different parents, and you were born in different places, and you're so different, yet we all compare each other to people that are similar, but yet they're completely different. So I just like, my biggest thing that I've been really trying to take in these days is just that you're different than everybody else.
Right.
And like, hone in on your own skills and like try your best, and just comparing yourself to others is just the stupid. It's as old as time. Everybody knows not to do that, but it's like, I feel like everyone does it, especially with social media now. You're like,
Yeah.
why is this person on vacation? Or how did this person do this? Or like,
Right.
that person got this job and I didn't. And it's like, you look at all that and you're like, that all doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's hard to like separate yourself from comparing yourself to other people, like, and especially in this day and age, right? Like everybody's just kind of putting out their life on the internet, and it looks all rainbows and sunshine, and it's just
we
like,
know, motherfucker,
so
it's a lie.
not, right? Yeah. You should know. Everyone should know it's a lie. Like, you know, it's not easy, and yeah, but just try to enjoy the process. Like everything has a silver lining, and yeah, just keep plugging away.
Beau's favorite book, Silver Lining Playbook by Beau Bishop.
A book?
I don't know. I'm just kidding. Isn't that a movie or a book or something?
Oh,
Silver Lining
I thought you were
Playbook?
asking me my favorite book. I'm like, shit, I don't read, man.
Shit, I can't read. No. I ditched that one a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I asked a bunch of people, hey, what's your favorite book? And they're like, fuck you. And I was like, nice. Well, some people would answer it immediately, and then other people on the podcast would be like, dude, a fucking book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't read because I only listen to audiobooks, but I do love digesting.
I should, yeah, anyway, but I don't.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, we got 10 questions for you here.
'Kay.
What was your career highlight?
Oh,
And what made it the career highlight?
career highlight? Like
Could be
I
whatever.
don't know, going pro for a ride. That was definitely something I was aimed for since I was a teenager, and yeah, accomplishing that was a highlight for me.
How did you find out that you turned pro?
I was filming for the King Snow movie with you, Rasmin, Belzil, and a whole other cast of characters. And we were filming pretty much most of the season had gone by. And anyway, one day, Crispin Cannon was texting me like, hey, we need to go out and shoot. We had just gone out like 6 days in a row or something. It was like, I feel like it was a big stretch, and the snow was not even very good anymore. And Crispin's like, hey, we need to go out tomorrow. And I was like, I don't want to go out tomorrow. I had also just got invited to the Natural Selection BC event, and we were leaving in like a day or two or something. And so Crispin's like, we need to go out tomorrow. We need to shoot these like interview things. And I'm like, the fuck, I'm going out. I'm not coming. Like, and he's like, no, it's like really important that you come. And I'm like, Crispin, I'm not coming. I gotta rest. I gotta mentally rest. I gotta physically rest. I'm going to this contest. I'm not coming. And then like Rasmus starts texting me like, man, these interviews, we gotta go do them. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then like I tell Angela about it, my partner at home, and she's like, sounds kind of important. Like, I think you maybe should go. And I'm like, she never tells me I should go. Like, so anyway, I like sort of thought that was a little funny. And so anyway, I agree. I'm like, all right, fine. Let's go bang it out in the morning. Let's just go. I don't know why we got to sled into the mountains to do an interview, but let's do that. So you and I and Chris Rasman and I think Aaron Leyland, I think that was the crew that went out. We sled out to the zone, and even when we get into the parking lot in the morning, Rasman comes over to me and he's just like, man, this is so bullshit. Hey, like, we got to do these interviews. Like, he's like selling it up like crazy. I'm just like, yeah, this sucks. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, I want to be resting. I don't want to do this. So we sled out into the mountains, and they're like, okay, snow's kind of shit. So why don't we just bang these interviews out, and then we'll go see if we can ride a feature. Okay, perfect. They're like, okay, Beau, like, you just sit on your sled, and like Aaron's gonna set up the camera and film, and I'm just gonna take this iPad here and ask you some questions I'm like, all right. So post up on the sled, and I'm pretty sure Crispin is just like, cool. So I want to show you something on the iPad, and I just want to kind of get your reaction. Like, it's like footage from the year or something. And I'm like, all right, cool. And so I get this iPad, and I press play, and it's like, boom, Jim Lindbergh from Ride, the global brand head of the company. And it's like, congratulations, this should have happened a long time ago. You're pro. And then it's like, Jake Blauvelt, congratulations, Beau, thought you were pro already. Congrats, Hannah Beeman, Spencer Schubert. Boom, Angela pops on the screen, you know, like with William, my son. I'm like welling up, you know. And then like my dad, and so like they had gone and like gotten these videos from everyone congratulating me on going pro. And like as this is happening, I look up, yourself, Rasman, everyone's unzipping their jackets, and they've got these like Ride Snowboards hockey jerseys made up with Bishop across the back. And they like present me with this jersey congratulating me on going pro. And it was just like so special, you know, like it was something like, it was the damn highlight of my career, you know.
As it should
cool.
be, man.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like I was just like tripping out. I couldn't believe like Angela even knew. It made sense. Like, as she's like, you should probably go. I'm like, what? And then like, yeah. So I remember just being so damn happy, and like calling my dad after and like crying. I was like, I don't know why I'm crying. I should be happy. He's just like, man, I'm so proud of you. Like, it was really cool, really special.
I mean, even for your son at the time.
Yeah.
To be a part of that.
It was so cool. And he was like, I don't know, like 1.5 or something.
To be intertwined in that moment.
He's like
Wow.
barely speaking, and Angela's like, say Beau. And he's like, Beau. And she's like, say pro. And he's like, pro. Now say Beau's pro. And Beau pro. Like, it's so funny, man. Just like a memory that's ingrained forever and like so special. Like, I just get like chills even talking about it. It's like, I was so damn happy, and like, thank you for being a part of that. And like, it was cool. It's special. It means a lot when people go out of their way to do shit like that for you. It's like so cool.
Yeah, it's kind of makes like when things like that happen, and I could see how happy you were that day, and I can see how happy you are now. Man, doing things for other people is like,
yeah, it's cool.
It's fucking what makes humans so.
Yeah.
That's the beauty in being a human, is the fact that if you set aside time and effort for somebody else, it can really make a big, like a drastic impact on someone's life. Like,
yeah, it's something I'll never forget, and just like, yeah, it was really special.
yeah, very, very great career highlight pick, Beau.
Thank you.
That was a wicked story, and to hear you share that again, it's like I almost, like, I remembered it, but
Yeah.
like, you know, it put me back in my shoes. I remember being like, we all had the jerseys under our jackets, and
cool,
when we
yeah.
unzipped them, and I was like, I just remember being hella jealous. I was like,
Oh yeah.
I like when I turned pro on K2, I found out by refreshing the website one year, and I was just on the website. I was like, there's nobody ever did like Jody's pro. Like,
Yeah.
I just snuck onto the
Yeah, it
website,
was-
and that reveal, like, that is such an important thing. And like, if you work at a company, realize that a lot of these people that spend their entire life on a snowboard, crafting, like working day in and day out and bailing and breaking their bodies off, and then they finally get to turn pro, like, it means a lot.
It does.
It means the world to these
It
people.
really
and
does. Yeah.
I mean, the team manager at the time no longer works at K2 that did that, but like, I remember that being like the worst feeling ever.
Yeah, you're bummed.
I was I'm still bummed.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like, yeah, like you're saying, it's the biggest
It's like a
company you
goal.
ride for.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's
dude,
a childhood goal, right? And
It's a dream.
It should be celebrated.
should
It
be.
should be celebrated, and brands should, if they're going to fulfill a kid's childhood dream, like, do it right. You know, make them a board, do something special, throw them a party. Yeah, do it right.
The Danimals one on Ride was so
was
cool
cool,
too, with
yeah.
the base that said
Yeah.
Danimals
All
and he's
the
pro,
homies are
all the
there at Hood.
homies.
Yeah, they've done some cool ones for
Yeah,
sure.
That one was awesome.
Yeah.
To you, what makes a rider stand out in this day and age?
Probably like just seeing power. Like, it's fun to watch riders that have like a lot of power, and that just stands out to me.
Yeah, we went over that. Mickle Bang. Power.
Bang, Ferguson, Rasman, like these people, Travis, you know, like, I don't know. It's just seeing like powerhouses. It's like that. You're just like, damn, okay, that stands out.
And if you can dance power with style, like
Yeah,
Mark
totally.
Frank,
Oh
like
my
you can see
God.
so much power in his riding, but
Oh,
style.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up. I just rewatched some part. And,
Back in Black.
oh, I don't know. It was some MFM part, and it was just insane. I rewatched it like 6 times, and I was just like mind blown. Like, he's actually wearing a Toronto Raptors jersey in one of the clips. It's a Vince Carter jersey. And I'm like, what? Sent it to like my Raptors fan homie. I'm like, did you see this MFM clip? He's wearing a Vince Carter jersey. Open jacket and the POW, just amazing. Yeah.
There's only 3 riders that can pull off the open jacket and powder. Mark Frank, Cale Stevens, and Kareem El-Rafi.
Kareem. Yeah. And yeah, all great picks.
Yeah.
I love those. Yeah.
That's good. All right. Who's the most underrated boarder to you? Could be like from the past, could be from now.
I'm gonna say E-Man Anderson, because not that he's unknown or under, like, but that guy, from what he did, should have been a highly super pro paid snowboarder, in my opinion. So yeah, I'd just say E-Man, because I think he should have been like rich from snowboarding. So that's my answer.
Yeah. There's people always say like Jed, Lewif, Kuzik, and I'm like, yeah, E-Man.
Yeah, E-Man's there. Like,
E-Man's like top 5 for me of all time. He's in there with the Nicholas Mule, like that raw talent that I got to
it's
witness for 20 years.
Stupid. Yeah. It's
Compared to
crazy.
my silly ass riding out there.
Yeah. Like, some of those dope parts he filmed are just like, you watch them now, it's just like, what?
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks of
It
filming
doesn't make sense. Yeah.
with no budget. He's never really made money from snowboarding.
So yeah, E-Man.
Great fucking pick. I did not expect that one. There's a whole that like, and then you could like E-Man, you say, but it just gets me to ripple with the whole like that whole dope crew. You like Scott Brown. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
God, dude,
totally.
like,
Yeah.
and then like Lane, and Lane just had an interview come out in Snowboard not in Snowboard Canada, in King Snow.
Yeah.
It's like 4 pages of Lane, and it's like you're like, he makes 0 money from snowboarding.
Yeah. And he's still
just that becomes more and more special to me as I get older. When someone like you see like the Lanes and the Ben Belucks and stuff like that, like I love that shit.
Yeah,
just love snowboarding.
Sick.
Favorite clip you've ever filmed and why?
Oh my God, I don't know. I mean, like that's like choosing a favorite kid. I can't.
What's one clip you like?
I got 2 kids, so I'm gonna pick 2. Let's go. I'm gonna do. There was a crail I did into this ice wall in Brandywine. Do you remember this clip I'm talking about?
Not right now.
I'll dig it up for you. It was just this perfect huge ice wall, and it was almost like a street feature, but in the backcountry. It's like this big smooth ice wall and like a step down into it. And I
Which
just
part?
Did this crail. It was in a old Snowboard Canada movie.
Glimpse or
it was in the first one. Yeah, Relax.
Relax.
Yeah. And it was the year. The other reason it's like special to me it was the year I came back from my huge injury, and I was like really badly hurt still, and I was still trying to film a video part, which was in kind of hindsight probably a mistake. I should have just taken that year to like regroup, but I didn't, and I was riding hurt, and I had that clip, and it was just something that stands out to me. And then I'd say number 2 is going to be like there was this session with Sandbox with the heli flying over, and I had a really, really, I guess it'd be like, yeah, I'm going to say the double backy I did with the heli follow in like 2010 or something like that. And that was right before I got hurt. And it was my first like big opportunity with like a real film company. And I got brought out to be part of like a heli film backcountry jump, which was super unique at that time. Like this is before drones and a lot of high pressure. So, and I was like, just had a lot of success on that session. And then I did like this big double wildcat at the very end of the session into like a huge bombed out landing. And I just remember landing and just being like so stoked. So I'll say that clip.
That's a good pick. Yeah. I mean,
they're both old ones, but I don't know if there's any that you think I should say. I don't know.
Honestly, I was just going to elaborate more on that, the experience that you must have had on the double wildcat when you're in the backcountry, a remote setting with a helicopter.
Yeah, it was intense.
Filming you.
Yeah.
It's like now you got the drone, the helicopter will never be used again. But back in the day, a filmer would literally clip up and hang outside of a door and film you from a helicopter, and they would radio you to drop because the heli was in the perfect position to capture your in-run to moment in the air, and to line all that up. And for that opportunity as a 20-year-old,
to be like young, I was like, that's why it stands out to me is just I was young, I was hungry, I had been like honing my skills in the park and not really had done it in the backcountry, and then I like pulled off like I had like 3 clips on this one jump filmed from a helicopter, and I was just like, damn, that session in general is just like special to me.
That's a special session, no doubt.
Yeah.
Who's the best style now?
E-Man Anderson.
Great pick. Best style back in the day.
Jamie Lynn.
Oh, great pick.
Yeah.
What keeps you up at night?
Oh my God, Jody, how much time do we have? I've not
been all day, baby.
Well.
Me neither.
What keeps me up at night? Like, I don't know. I guess I sleep pretty good. Like, but just trying to be a good dad and like a good partner and like a good person, I guess. And like sometimes I get down on myself about that kind of stuff. So, I just want to be good for my family, and like that's sometimes what keeps me up at night.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I think last night I wasn't sleeping at all. I actually got up in the middle of the night and I turned my phone on, walked out to the island in my kitchen, and I wrote down like a massive to-do list because my brain was moving so quickly with like things I need to do and areas of my life that I need to like structure better. And it's like, I was like, this is insane that I'm doing this. And I was like, I realized that like 2 weeks ago, I had just listened to a podcast on somebody speaking on being in your 30s and 40s and how those years have always been the most stressful for everybody.
Right.
You know, your parents start to get older. You have enough, you've lived a long enough life that you understand like the importance of it, the fragility of it, like how like, you know, how life works and how like you're not going to have your parents forever, and how like you know, you do need to find something to strive towards in life, and you do need to keep improving on yourself, and you do need to show up and be the best person that you can be for not only yourself, but your family and your friends and stuff. So those years, you start to really gauge like the importance of life and how it's not just forever. And and I feel like it's a good feeling, but sometimes it's a little overwhelming, but it's not unique to me or anybody else. It's just that this is what a human should feel like to continue to push forward, I guess. And
yeah, I think it's natural.
I think it's natural, right?
Feel
to not sleep. I would love
anxiety's natural, right?
I think everybody has anxiety now, and it's not unique to anybody. No. Like, I don't think I've ever talked to anybody in the last couple of years that's like, I've never had anxiety. It's like everyone's like, chalk me up for another panic attack.
I'm feeling anxious. Help.
Yeah, we all are. So welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Then you realize the significance of going out and going snowboarding.
Yeah,
just
it's
like that.
Really nice. Yeah.
Big time. Like if you're somebody who's working really, really hard right now and you haven't gone boarding for a while, book a day to go boarding. I tell you, it's like, you're like, oh yeah, I needed this.
Big time.
And you did. All right. Who's the GOAT?
To me.
To Beau Bishop, who was the greatest of all time.
Damn, this is like so hard, but
you're a sports guy. You got this answer.
I'm going to go Devin Walsh.
Great pick.
Yeah. To me, you know, like I was kind of mentioned
Your
a little
goat.
Earlier, like he pioneered so much in this area, and this is where I am, and this is what I like. This is where I like to operate. And so for me, it's Devin. And growing up too, like I was a Forum, you know, idolized Forum, and he was standing out and all that. And he's Canadian, and so there was just like a lot of like relatability in a sense to what he was doing. And so yeah, my answer is Devin Walsh.
I don't think there's anybody who's filmed more video parts than Devin. I think John Jay might be in the realm now.
Totally.
I think John Jay's maybe John Jay, Mikkel, Gigi. I think those three are pretty good answers for people that are close on the tail.
Yeah.
Like, because Gigi's first part to me would have been like Kingpin's Destroyer. John Jay's been filming in Mammoth though since he was like, I found an old Mammoth video,
really,
and John has opening part, and it's like tightish, not tight pants, but like tube leg kind of pants, like high, and he is so good. Like I screen recorded it. I'm like, I'm gonna blow people's minds about how good John was when he was like 15.
Yeah,
savage. But you already threw him in the bird.
I did. He's in the bird. Yeah, he's coming.
All right, you've had one hell of a career, Beau. And you're the fucking man. Do you have any thank yous that you'd like to dish out?
Yeah, let's just my family. Like, I can't say enough about Angela too. Like, she just like runs the ship at home, and it's like, I love my kids so much. I love her so much. My mom and dad, my step parents, like my brother and my sister. Yeah, like family's really big to me. And yeah, like anyone who's kind of like helped me along the way, like there's just like too many to kind of name, I think, and I'm gonna miss people. So yeah, you know who you are. People who helped me along the way. Thank you.
And who you currently rocking with, sponsors? What's your setup looking like this year? Yeah, what are you decked out in?
Yeah, so ride snowboards, boards, boots, bindings. Riding the Algorithm right now. Really fun.
Algorithm?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Is
like,
that one a new one?
It's been on the line for a bunch of years now. Super fun board. And then I'm like an A series binding guy, so the aluminum ones. They make the composite ones now too, but the old head in me is the aluminum guy. And I'm running this like Torrent boot, which is really sick. And then for outerwear, I'm Bonfire, I've been with like almost 8 years now, which is crazy. Damn. Yeah. And they've been like supporting me really well for about 8 years, making great gear. So Bonfire. And then I'm doing, Time Bomb Trading is providing me goggles and socks through Dragon and Stance. And, BCA is a new brand I've been, working with. That's been awesome. And they're killing it. And then Salmon Arms makes me a pro model glove, and I've been wearing their gloves forever. And so shout out Salmon Arms.
What's up with the pro model here? Is the pro model is what?
It's a mitt that resembles a old school hockey glove. So it's pretty sick. It's all like, it's a mitt, but it looks like a really old school like Cooper hockey glove. So it's really dope.
Was Cooper your hockey gear when you were a kid?
Cooper's like my dad's hockey gear, like his old school shit. So
I had Cooper stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah. Like it's like basically like all that old like 60s, 70s footage, like all the NHL players are all in like Cooper gloves, and they're like super high on the forearm, and they're like all leather. They're badass. So that I'll quickly just tell the story of how that all happened too, because Salmon Arms, Nick Harenga, like mastermind of like comedy and just like making the sickest, funnest gloves and like supporting all these like really sick up and coming riders. And anyway, he's been flowing me gloves forever. And I just told him one day, like, yo, you should make a glove that looks like a hockey mitt, you know, like just threw it out there. And then like 2 or 3 years later, he similarly, like to the ride thing, was like, yo, you should come to Seymour tonight. And I'm like, I'm not coming to Seymour tonight. Like, and he's like, no, there's this thing. I really want you to come. And I'm like, Nick never asked me to do like anything like this. So he convinced me to drive down to Mount Seymour and gave me my pro model glove, which was so sick.
Were like the bunch of homies there?
Yeah, like Jeff Keenan gave them to me, you know. So
nice.
like
Matt Heenan.
it was like the Seymour squad, which
Yeah.
man, you get like that whole Seymour squad can be like pretty intimidating when you're like young and up and coming, and like to get the nod from that crew is also like really sick. So
Very sick.
yeah, pretty funny. I have one funny thing to say about Jeff Keenan. So way back in the day, I'm getting on with Dragon, and Dave Burney's the like guy at Time Bomb at the time. And he's like, I don't know him at all. Never met him. He's like, we need to schedule a phone call. I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, so Dave Rouleau and Marasha and these Narcor guys say that I should sponsor you. And, you know, I've been thinking about it. And anyway, like, I can give you like whatever X amount and some goggles. And, you know, I talked to the whole team at Dragon, like all the guys on Dragon. They all said you're dope, except for Jeff Keenan. He said we shouldn't put you on the team. But anyway, I'm going to do it anyway. And this and
Throws
that.
you under the bus.
Dude. So years go by, and I'm like, fuck Jeff Keenan, you know?
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't like, what is his problem with me, you know? And then like years later, I find out that is completely fabricated. Bernie was just fucking with me. Keenan did not say that. He like when Jeff found out about that, he's just like, what? Like, there's no way, that never happened. I've never had anything but respect for you. So Dave Burney, if you know him, he's just like a terrorist. He messed with my mind. Thank you, Dave. It was pretty funny.
Did you find out that he messed with your mind, or Jeff just said he didn't say that?
No, so I told this story on a podcast, on the F and Rad podcast.
Okay.
And then Jeff Keenan heard it and was like, reached out and was like, bro, I never said that. Like,
oh, but
so
everybody
just,
who would have said that would have called you and said, I didn't say that.
maybe, but I don't know. I believe Jeff, because Bernie is a...
Yeah, totally. Bernie's way more of a
Bernie's-
shit disturber.
Bernie's
Jeff is
like-
not in that
It
club.
is so like Bernie would do that, where Jeff, I don't think, had any beef with me. It didn't even really know each other. So anyway, pretty funny story.
That is an incredible story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff would have done. The more I think about this, the more I would be like, yeah, it's Dave Burney.
Yeah, probably Bernie. And hey, Bernie, hit me up if you didn't, because then I'll go fight Jeff. No, I'm kidding.
It's like, who stole your lunch, Belzil or Jody?
Yeah.
You'd be like, not Matt.
Might have been Bells. Yeah.
Cheers, dog.
Yo, thank
you so much for coming on the podcast, Beau.
Dude, thank you for having me.
Thanks for everything, man. The years of inspiration. Dude. Thanks to your surgeon for getting your ankle back, because, I mean, you have been an absolute treat to be in the mountains with over these last couple years. Like, I would put you with like the toppest group of people. Toppest maybe isn't a word, but it is out here on Airtime Podcast. Just spending time in the mountains with you is absolutely incredible. You love being out there. You bring the best energy every day. You're completely dialed. We like to ride the same features, Natty. It's just a fucking treat to have you out there,
Dude,
man.
likewise, man.
It's like
Thank
you get
you.
to the lot at the end of the day. Every day that I get to go out there with you, I'm like, this is what like life is all about. Like, I really think that you have, like, you're beating yourself up a little bit night in and night out like we all do, but like fuck man, like you show up to the lot, I'm like, it's gonna be a good day. Like everybody is so juiced, dude. It's like,
thank you, man.
And you've mentioned it a couple times throughout this show, but I think like if there's one big takeaway, it is be like, once you leave the house, bring that positive energy because it fucking helps everybody else's life.
Yeah,
like there's something like that's when you show up to the lot every day, I'm like, fuck, this is going to be awesome. We're like, I don't know too many people like this in snowboarding because I don't think they have a long career. But if you have a shitty, negative, kind of glass half empty vibe, it's not very fun to hang out with you.
Yeah, bring some
Bring the
positivity.
vibe.
Yeah,
Bring the
'cause,
vibe.
we're so lucky to do this. So just like remember that if you're in the position to be able to go snowboarding like all the time, like just enjoy that.
All I'm going to say to Ange is just give you another 15-minute buffer when you get to the parking lot. So I have 15 more minutes with Beau in the parking lot because it's my favorite time with Beau. I feel like as of late with the 2 kids now, you're like, I got to go.
Yeah, I know. Now I get down from sledding and I'm like, I really want to hang and have like a beer with everyone, but I probably should get home and help with dinner and bath time. But anyway, that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, thanks for having me, man. The studio's sick. Keep it up. This podcast's great. Been a big fan of it. Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much to all the Patreon members. Thank you for everybody for listening. Remember to go snowboarding as soon as possible and tune in 2 weeks. We got another heavy hitter teed up. You should be excited for this one. All right, take care.
Okay, thank you guys.
Peace. All right, now we can just wind down and have a beer. Cheers, dog.
Cheers.
3, 2. Oh my God.
Yo, what's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966.
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Airtime, y'all podcast.
Yes, sir.